Hey there, thank you. Welcome to the Film Fan Club Show Academy Awards Special. I'm your host, Sam Carrico, and we finally made it to Hollywood's biggest night. Maybe not the most impactful night for Hollywood, though, because, that would be the Ghislaine Maxwell hearing. Amy Schumer is one of the hosts tonight. To celebrate her hosting, all of these jokes that I'm about to do are stolen. No, I'm kidding. We're here to celebrate some of the best movies to come out last year. Not all of them, because Annette wasn't nominated, but some of the best movies. There's been a lot of drama, though, leading up to the Oscars. The biggest scandal was easily Rachel Zegler not being invited. Have you seen this? The West Side Story actress posted on Instagram that she was going to have to watch the awards from home because she hadn't received an invite yet. And I'll say the controversial thing, I don't think anybody from West Side Story should go to the Academy Awards because it shouldn't be nominated. Originally, people were blaming the television network for not getting Rachel her tickets, so they were mad at the parent company of ABC, which is Disney. Then they figured out it's actually the fault of the film studio that gives Rachel her tickets. So then they were mad at 20th Century Fox, which is owned by Disney. Shit, that's depressing. Don't worry though, Rachel eventually got her tickets and the world is at peace again. Power of the Dog is the frontrunner tonight with 12 nominations. Yeah, it's not winning over everybody though. I don't know if you guys saw, but actor Sam Elliott did not like the film. He called it a piece of shit over what he referred to as its allusions to homosexuality. And that's really funny coming from the guy who said that Brokeback Mountain is a beautiful film. The Power of the Dog's director, Jane Campion, took it to heart. She said, "Okay, Sam, let's come down to the Warner Brothers lot and settle this with a shootout." She thought that was a pretty good line, too, until she realized that Sam Elliott is friends with Alec Baldwin. Don't Look Up has 4 nominations. The movie stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Jennifer Lawrence, and Meryl Streep. I don't know, guys. There's just something about this movie that seemed a little unrealistic. I mean, there's no way that Leo would marry a woman in her 40s. And Belfast also has a shot at Best Picture. I finally saw this in the last month and thought it was really good. In a time with so much racial tension and religious persecution, it's nice to have a movie come out and remind us, hey, the white Christians had it rough too, guys. Okay, we've got a great show for you lined up. Later on, we'll be talking to an LA-based filmmaker who will share his insight, predictions for Best Picture, and talk about a new movie that he's working on. But first, let's begin our live coverage of the Academy Awards. All right, welcome. Let's meet our panel, starting with the returning friend of the show, Lenny Schwartz is here. Hey, Lenny.
Hey, how's it going, Sam?
It's good to see you.
Good to see you.
Seats, film critic. He's a newcomer to the show. Ian Simmons is also here. Hey, Ian. And you think you might still be muted, but that's okay because Ryan Thomas is with the Circle Cinema live from their watch party, and he is joining us now. Hey, Ryan. And make sure that you unmute yourself, of course, too. Oh, no, we might be having technical difficulties with Ryan. Okay. Oh, we see you now. Ryan, you with us? Make sure you unmute yourself. Oh, this is live, folks. Ryan, we can't hear you right now, but you might check your stuff. In the meantime, Lenny, Ian, what was the last award they gave out? I think. All right, Ryan is with us now. Okay.
It was Best Foreign Language Film.
Ryan, can you hear me? We are having a good time, folks. Okay. Ariana DeBose started off the night with Best Supporting Actress. So, Lenny, Ian, before we get to Ryan, what did you guys think? Lenny, West Side Story was one of your top picks. So, Ariana DeBose.
I think that Ariana DeBose definitely deserved it. She's great in the film, and she's just great. Like, I mean, I think that's a very interesting category because any of them could have won it. Judi Dench could have won it. Any one of them could have. Like Jessie Buckley could have won it. Every single one of them could have really pulled that off. And but I think it's very deserving no matter who won it. And I think she's definitely the pick I would have probably gone through, especially in the last few weeks.
Ian.
Yeah, I agree. I really liked her in the film. I was not, I'm in the minority here. I was not a fan of West Side Story at all. But I think she was one of the 2 bright spots for me in that movie. So yeah, I was actually happy to see her take home the statue.
I agree with you, Ian. Let's try Ryan one more time. Ryan, you with us?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Wonderful.
All right.
Okay, sorry, I just had a little connection issue there.
No, you're okay. I'm so excited to get to talk to you because you're live from the Circle Cinema. So, first off, could you give us a little bit of insight into what you guys do? For those who don't know, Circle Cinema, historic in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and you guys host the annual watch party. So tell us a little bit about that and then what's going on tonight.
Yeah, so we're here at Circle Cinema. We're Tulsa's only independent nonprofit art house theater, located on Admiral and Lewis. You can find out more about all the films we show, what we do at circlecinema.org. Tonight, we're hosting our annual red carpet experience, one of our favorite nights of the year. It's like Christmas for movies, really. We have a lot of people come out to have a real great time. Had some great live entertainment before the show. Branden sang a few songs. Barry Friedman did some comedy. Great food, great drinks, and just a real good time. Now everyone's in the theater watching the awards and just having a wonderful time.
Yeah, and then last year we had Minari. Everybody was really waving the flag of Minari because it was shot in Oklahoma. Next year we might have, hopefully, Killers of the Flower Moon representing Oklahoma at the Oscars. But this year, I'm a little bit stuck trying to think of something. What really is everybody rooting for down there at the Circle?
It's a pretty split crowd. We've got a few people pulling for Power of the Dog, which seems to be the favorite. CODA is got a lot of support here. Could pull an upset. Had a few King Richard fans, and personally, I'm pulling for Dune. I thought that would be fantastic. Great to see a good sci-fi film. Great to see it getting a lot of the technical award recognition. So maybe that'll translate over to Best Picture too.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask about next. They had the pre-show awards. They taped them an hour before the Oscars, and then they edited them into the broadcast later. So Dune's kind of sweeping those. Ryan, you're obviously very excited. Do you think it's going to lead to more?
I hope so. I wouldn't mind seeing it get Best Picture. There's a lot of talk about, only just part one, so maybe not. But either way, it's tremendous accomplishment, capping off a great year of films all around.
Were you a little bit disappointed to see Denis Villeneuve? I don't think he was nominated for director, was he?
I don't believe so, but it was a crowded field this year. Tough, that and Best Actress, just tough for everyone to break in. So take the credit it gets and look for part two to really clean up.
And going back to a lot of the Circle's programming, you guys showed a lot of the Best Picture nominees, right?
Yes, we actually showed all 10 of the Best Picture nominees. It was the first year we've shown all of the Best Picture nominees. And I think something like 90% of all the nominees together we showed at some point over the last year. So we're pretty proud of that. We're the place to be to see all the Oscar-nominated films.
And what are some of the challenges of running an independent theater in the age of streaming?
That's a great question, and one we're still trying to find the answer to. But it's about building an experience around the movies. Fostering a great environment. People love to come in, just have a good time, get a good drink at our Circle bar, get some of the best popcorn in town, and sit in a great theater seat, and never beat the big screen.
Yeah, of course. And what do you guys? So we talked a little bit about the mood of the crowd. Has there been any other cheers in the audience or boos? Whenever a certain person won or lost, or kind of what else is like last little temperature check before we let you go down there.
Yeah, everyone's having a real great time. I think the hosts are being pretty well received. That last Wanda Sykes skit was pretty funny, and everyone's having a real good time. It's a good mood. It feels a lot more uplifting than last year's show. Yeah,
last year it was kind of a weird transitional period, but it seems like this year everybody's kind of getting back into the mix of things. So what are you envisioning for the rest of your guys' evening?
Yeah, just keep the good vibes rolling. We've got the bar open. We've got some specialty movie-themed cocktails going, and just having a real great time as we keep the awards going and find out who's going to win Best Picture. It's real up in the air right now. Your guess is as good as mine, I think.
Yeah, as Ian was kind of alluding to earlier, some of those Best Picture nominees, I might need a drink or two if they make it that far, honestly. If West Side Story takes it home instead of some of the others, I'll be a little disappointed. So also, I got to ask, by the way, this I guess we can I forgot to mention my backdrop. You can kind of see what my favorite movie of the year was, Annette. So, it was snubbed at this year's Oscars, Ryan. So I want to know, you're the only one that's there with the crowd. So, in the crowd, we're trying to take a temperature check, like I said. Have you seen any, shows of support from the audience, maybe some T-shirts, any sort of, signs just saying, let's go Annette?
You mean like Annette Bening? I don't think she was nominated this year. Surely don't mean the movie because
the movie, yeah.
No, what? Not at all. What?
Well, did you guys show Annette at the?
We did. It was well received, but Oscar caliber.
Don't give me that. Okay, well you should have tried harder. You're part of the problem. All right, bye. All right, well he ruined it. I don't know what his problem was, but Circle Cinema dropping the ball again. Thank you, Ryan. So that's our first. As you can see, how things are going to go here tonight. I've got he alluded to it, so I got to have my champagne. So I'm gonna. I guess should I just open it right now? I guess I should, shouldn't I?
You absolutely should.
I absolutely should. I agree.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. There we go. I was so afraid I was gonna pour it all over myself. I still might on the top.
We were hoping.
Oh geez. Okay. So oh shit. Live television. So how do you guys think about that opening? So what do you guys think of the Oscars so far? Now this is the casual part of the show. Let's just take a little.
Yeah, I think the host did okay. I felt really uncomfortable with the Josh Brolin and Jason Momoa feel down. I thought that was kind of weird. It was funny, but it was kind of like, all right, well, I get it. It was kind of like this really awkward kind of like, couple moments. And I think the hosts are doing best they can with what they have. That's pretty much it. And that's I guess it's funny enough. But no one really pushes the envelope anymore. It's just kind of, it was good, it was funny, but I felt like it was almost like I've heard those jokes before in a different format. I wanted to do something kind of new. We haven't gotten that in like 30 years anyway.
Yeah, Ian, what do you think so far of the hosts and all the are they the hosts with the most?
These aren't the hosts with the most. I'm sorry. I like Wanda Sykes, Amy Schumer, Regina Hall. They're fine. It just feels like a really strange Oscars ceremony. I mean, the politics, everything is just like right out there, way up in front. The Beyonce opening with the key lime dancers or whatever the hell is going on in that tennis court. I'm like, why is this lasting 8 minutes? It's almost as if the Oscars are saying, you know what? Ratings have been declining for the last half decade. People are talking about how they're not going to watch the show. Let's prove them right. Because I would love to see the numbers on this show and see how many people just nope out in the first 5 minutes.
Yep. Yeah, I would think you're probably right. I think people definitely nope down the first 5 minutes. They're like, you know what? I want to see the highlight reel. I'll just go on TikTok and see the winners on there. I agree with you. It's the thing is, it's like, if they really want to make it something that's just give us something that's entertaining, or give us a short film, or give us something, rather than something you can't see anywhere else that you see when it happens, and it's going to be one of those moments, But unfortunately, we don't have posts like that anymore. We don't have the Billy Christmas.
Yeah. I remember whenever they used to give us like a reel, like a little short film that was based on all the movies of the year, and they like combined them into like one little thing with the host doing like a fun little. I don't know if they still do that stuff. Lenny, you might check your audio real quick. You sound like you're a little bit muffled. So
I might be holding the back of my phone. That's probably why.
That actually sounds way better.
Yeah,
so
I hold
that
I do that. It should be. Yeah, but I do. I think I agree with you. I think there needs to be something. We have the best filmmakers in the world. And when it's watching, I hate to say it, like here's a circle jerk, we got Spielberg there. Give him something to do. It's like, I'm sure he's busy, but he takes 3 days and direct a film for this and get the ratings up. It'd be worth it to see these people even just work together. Something that is about film. This is all just here it's another award ceremony with nothing spectacular.
Yeah. Do you guys think Zelensky is going to make an appearance?
What's that?
Probably.
The president of Ukraine, Lenny. Do you think the president of Ukraine will show up tonight?
I kind of hope he doesn't, because and here's why. I really do hope he does, but I hope for obvious reasons. But I kind of hope he doesn't, because I don't know if you saw this article with Sean Penn's going to smelt his Oscars.
That's why I hope I want to see Sean Penn smelt his Oscars. That's why, yeah.
Yeah, me too. I actually want to see Sean Penn get smelted. That'd be amazing.
And how is,
but as this character from Fast Times at Ridgemont High, what's his name? Spicoli. I want to see him dress up like Spicoli and then get smelted. That'd be freaking amazing. And 4K, I would love that.
And 4K, of course. Well, how has it been with the editing? We talked about it with Ryan a little bit, doing the some of the technical stuff beforehand and then editing it in later. Is it really seamless, or is it awkward?
No, it's. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
Go ahead, Ian.
It's weird. I didn't pick up on the fact that it was edited in later. It makes more sense watching it, because if you don't know that watching the Oscar telecast, you might think that this is all happening live. And it shows, because it's this kind of Hollywood awards show classism, where it's like the awards that people care about. That's where you get the celebrities presenter dramatically opening the envelope and announcing it. In this case, you have the announcer literally announcing the clips package. And before the clips package is over, they cut to the people rushing to the stage and getting their award. And they're saying, and the winner is, like the announcer is saying it. There's no drama. There's no nothing.
Yeah.
It's bogus.
Yeah, I agree with that. And they could have cut out the James Bond retrospective, the Godfather retrospective, the White Men Can't Jump
the fan favorite award, the bullshit fan favorite Twitter poll, basically, that they do. Like, I haven't seen that part yet, but it's still frustrating.
Yeah, it's sort of gross. It's like, let's try to make it appeal, make the people we want to watch our show, but let's do the show we want to do anyway. It kind of doesn't work like that,
Yeah, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Go ahead, Ian.
I was going to say, well, I was going to say, you mentioned the word gross. I want to get back to that Regina Hall thing, where she was patting down Josh Brolin and Jason Momoa on stage. Before that was the whole COVID test bit. That's really funny. We lost the COVID test results, so I've got to call these 4 handsome Hollywood studs up to the stage. One of whom was Timothy Chalamet, wearing a glitter coat and nothing else underneath. But it's a meat market. And there was the whole thing of like, I'm going to take you backstage and swab down the back of your throat with my tongue. And then she like pats down Momoa and Brolin. I'm like, I don't hate to do the whataboutism thing. I'm just going to do it here and say, imagine if that was Bradley Cooper up on that stage doing that to, Ariana DeBose and Kate Blanchett and a bunch of starlets and saying, I'm going to take you backstage and swab down the back of your throat with my tongue. It's 2 wrongs don't make a right. It's sexual harassment on live television for laughs. Everybody in the audience loved it. I'm like, are you the same people who are upset about the sexualization and harassment in Hollywood? It is gross.
Yeah.
It's gross.
I thought that too.
Of who it is.
Yeah.
Yep. It's it's in a sense, I want to say, did she cross the line? Maybe she didn't. Maybe she told them, hey, this is what I'm going to do. This is the bit, whatever it's going to be, in one sense. But at a certain point, maybe it's not the audience for it. Maybe it's not. Maybe you guys should work out your problems first, and then we can maybe get to that joke.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing, though. It really is just the double standard, because one of the messages of Me Too was we have to look back on the way that we've treated specifically women in entertainment, not just behind the scenes, but in public ceremonies and movies and the objectification and all that. We have to learn some lessons from it. And is the lesson that it's okay when it happens to guys? Because I don't think that's what they were going for. But
right.
Well, it just goes to this. Yeah, it goes to a tone deaf thing.
Yeah.
Right. I don't want to place any blame on Regina Hall or the people who participated in it, because this is down to like writers and producers and people signed off.
It got pitched. Right? Yeah, it got pitched and then approved.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
It got pitched and approved. And imagine if this was 3 years ago.
Right.
The whole thing was at its height. If they did it then, it would have been the biggest freaking groaner in the room, and everyone would have been, but how far we've come and how far we went back. But anyway, I do have to get going in a few minutes, guys, but I did want to tell you what my thoughts are for the rest of the night.
Well, do you want to talk about really quickly, do best supporting actor real quick, Lenny? Your thoughts? Oh,
I think he's great. Trey Kotsar, I think he definitely deserves it. And it was a really wonderful moment too. Honestly, we talk about, everyone tries to do diversity, and I get it, but it wasn't forced. It was just really nice to see, to see people getting along and supporting each other. I really liked it. I thought it was really wonderful. And it was it really was a genuine moment rather than a creative moment. I think that's what was great about it. I think he's great. I think he's just a phenomenal performer. I really thought it was a really genuine moment for once at the Oscars,
Yeah, that was a good. We'll let you drop off there, Lenny. But like I said earlier in the pre-taping, if you want to come back in at any point, you're welcome to as the night goes on.
Absolutely, man. And guys, you have fun. I'm really kind of sick from the appetizers.
I'm like, Lenny's had like 4 rotisserie chickens at this point.
Oh man, the phone is slipping from my hands. It's awful. But I was gonna say too. Annette should have probably won Best Picture, my friend. I'm sorry, it didn't.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. Oh, yeah. I have an in memoriam package that I'm going to play later because I have all the graphics that I kept from our Best of the Year video that I did. So I'm going to play that as our in memoriam package.
Right.
It's just all the stuff that didn't get nominated that I like.
Right. I'm going to go find the nearest bucket and throw up. But anyway.
Oh, yeah. All right. We'll let you go, Lenny. Thank you so much.
Have a good one, guys. Take care. Good night. Take care.
All right. Take care, man.
All right, Ian.
Sam.
How are you? I think it's been a night. It's been this is a film fan club show. You know, I just found out that my mic was not plugged in for the first 20 or so minutes. So I was going off my computer mic, but now I've fixed that, I think.
I've been able to hear the whole time. Maybe the sound quality is better, but yeah,
maybe the sound quality is better. I think that might just be what it is. So that's cool. Maybe the podcast version will be okay. So anyways, yeah, we got a lot to talk about though. Have you seen Encanto?
Yeah.
What'd you think of it?
I didn't. I mean, that's the thing is I need to go back and watch it again because while I was watching, I was like, really, this is an hour and a half movie with a 20-minute story and a bunch of songs that I don't care about. And I couldn't even think of until this Bruno thing took off. It's one of those weird bits where I feel like a lot of the movies, and maybe it's because of the pandemic, this is the first time I think a lot of people are hearing about them. I don't know when CODA came out. I don't know when it blew up. It feels like people were talking about it within the last 3 weeks. I'm like, where the hell did this come out?
I was at the Sundance virtual, the Sundance at Home Film Festival in January 2021 when I had the opportunity to see CODA, and I chose to see Mass instead. And I don't know if you've seen or heard of Mass, but it was a really great film. I loved it a lot. And boy, did I miss the mark, I guess, because I should have gone and seen CODA, I guess, but because I would have been ahead of the curve. But instead, I bet my horses on Mass, and nobody has seen Mass. It's really quite a tragedy.
I have not seen Mass yet. I think I have it somewhere, but I haven't watched it. And the same thing with CODA. I mean, I remember getting a screener of it during award season, but you get 75, 100 movies, and you gotta be judicious of it because some of us have day jobs and families. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I didn't even know what it was about. I know we were talking about Troy Kotsur just won for CODA, and I confess, when you guys were talking about it just now, I had to look it up. I'm like, who is that?
I think he was the dad in CODA, right? Yeah.
Right. I still haven't watched CODA.
Right. I know you haven't seen it, but I thought he was good. I thought he was good as the dad, I guess.
And that's fine.
For the record, that's my review.
Anybody here? Yeah. He was good as the dad in CODA.
Yeah. I finally saw it on it because I didn't see it. Like I said, I didn't see it at the Sundance Film Festival. Then I finally saw it whenever it started getting the awards buzz. And yeah, like you said, everybody kind of learns about it much later in the game.
But here's the thing, and maybe you know this because I certainly don't. When did it actually come out?
So I don't know when it had a wide theatrical run. I think I could look it up while we talk, but I think it went from Sundance select theaters to straight to streaming on Apple.
Okay, so it might, and that's entirely possible because ever since Netflix and Amazon got into the mix, and that's sort of the problem here. I appreciate that everybody's putting out new movies, and some of them are really great films.
Right.
But it's also the same problem with whenever you go to Netflix, it's like, here's what's new. And you can scroll for days just on a Tuesday, and you come back Wednesday and there's 1,000 more options.
Mm-hmm.
It's an Academy Award nominated movie, I guess, but there's also other films on other streaming services that I could be watching too. And everyone says that this one is amazing and that one's amazing. And this is amazing too.
Right. I think that's what killed Annette, if I'm being, other than the rigging. I think they rigged it against it in favor of West Side Story. That's clear. It's a Disney. But anyways, but other than that, if I had to be, devil's advocate, other than, reality, devil's advocate, I would say the streaming, the fact that they put Annette out in select theaters for probably 2 weekends and then put it on Amazon Plus or Amazon Prime, and then people were just able to just forget about it. And then they're like, Adam Driver, who, instead I just saw Belfast in January, all these things you see after it, and you're like, oh, clearly that was better. And I think that's a big tragedy this award season.
Well, the other weird thing is, part of the Chicago Film Critics Association. So we're doing our, towards the end of the years when we come up with our best lists and all that stuff, and we try and watch as much as we can. There are other, pro film critics who literally watch these movies for a living and see everything, and they've got a good handle on it. But a lot of the buzz around a lot of these movies that we're seeing are Oscar darlings now. The chatter among, some of my colleagues was, this movie wasn't that great, or this person will probably get nominated, but why? I'm thinking
Right.
specifically of Will Smith. Like when I saw that he was nominated for the Oscar, I'm like, I still have not seen King Richard, but what I
Yeah.
had heard about that performance in that film, honestly, was just like not that impressive. So I wonder, is this another situation of like kind of an unofficial lifetime achievement award
That's what
or
I think.
nomination?
I think I don't know. So I saw the opening scene of King Richard because I went to the theater. I have the AMC A-list pass, and I halfway through the opening scene, I couldn't remember for the life of me whether or not I had locked the door to my house. So I did, by the way. So I wasted yeah, I know. So I went home and I was like, oh, if my cat gets out, So I raced home. I saw the opening scene to King Richard, and it's a pretty good scene. It really helped. Like I'm like, okay, that kind of encapsulates the performance of the struggling father doing everything he can for his daughters. And I guess that's just kind of what a lot of the movie is. And also I didn't get a chance to see Drive My Car. So King Richard and Drive My Car, the two films that I didn't see in their entirety from this year's nominees. I saw the opening scene to both. With Drive My Car, it was because it was on HBO Max. I turned it on, got a little bit into it. Then I saw that 3-hour runtime and I was like, no, thank you. Did you see that one?
No. And
I wonder why.
Well, no, it's not the long runtime. It's honestly early. I've seen a few of the nominees in various categories, but part of it is, of course, you never know what's going to actually get nominated when you're trying to, watch the quote unquote important films.
Right.
But, Power of the Dog was a movie that everybody was telling me was amazing, and it's going to, probably be the big contender for the year. You have to see it. Everyone was raving about it. I watched it. I absolutely hated that movie, and it kind of put me off watching a lot of the, buzzworthy nominated films of 2021.
Okay, wait. So you can't you buried the lead, man. You really buried the lead. You hate the front runner for Best Picture. Why?
I think it was one of the funniest movies I'd seen last year. I think Sam Elliott, and I saw, in your in your opening package there, you kind of mentioned the controversy. I don't think he's wrong. I just don't think he's right for the right reasons.
I honestly, I like to make fun of things. I don't understand the substance of his criticism. Like, not as a to be mean or anything. I just don't understand what he's mad about, I guess.
Well, I think he's, I don't know if he's mad about the whole like gay subplot or whatever, but I can break it down like this. If there is a movie if Power of the Dog had come out 50 years ago, I think people in 2021 would have been lambasting it for its cartoonish portrayals of gay people.
Really?
Like Cody Smith McPhee, honestly, the way that he, comes across in that film is the stereotypical kind of swishy, effeminate, like when he's running, like chasing the dog or whatever.
Yeah.
It's a stereotype. And then with, Benedict Cumberbatch, frankly, I didn't get I read the synopsis of the movie. I knew what it was supposed to be about, but I didn't understand why anybody was in fear of this guy. He just seemed like kind of a grumpy boss. He wasn't an intimidating
Lenny
figure
and
at
I
all.
had the same conversation when we did our best of the year video. We kind of we talked about Power of the Dog because I think it was in his top 10, and he was like he said, I don't think Benedict Cumberbatch was mean enough, and then I said what you just said. I was like, yeah, he was a little bit like stern. He was like grumpy, but that's about it.
Right. So I mean, I liked where the film ultimately ended up, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody who's watching who hasn't seen it, right?
Yeah, overall I like the film, by the way. Yeah, for those watching, I think it's good.
I think it, at the same time, I said it's the kind of movie that I think modern audiences would have made fun of if it come out in a different time. I also feel like it's about 30 years too late for the subject matter, because it's like, okay, it's a Western and there's this really macho, masculine, mean guy. And guess what? Spoiler alert, he's gay. I'm like, it's just the most obvious, he's got the little hut with the men's magazines in it. I'm like, there is nothing original, or there's no point of view really in the film that hasn't been expressed by much better films in other years.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to defend Power of the Dog because again, it was not in my top 10 at all. But like, I took it as like what can happen, when a person represses their sexuality and like I don't want to say toxic masculinity, but like in a way that is kind of like he goes in a really negative direction with the way he represses his sexuality and it leads him to a bad place.
I
also haven't seen
understand.
it in
I'm
a
just
while.
saying. I think that theme has been done better in other movies. I mean,
That's
there was
fair.
another
Yeah.
film that came out last year, Jim Cummings' The Beta Test, which is on Hulu. It's streaming right now.
Oh.
That is one of my favorite films of 2021, and that is about toxic masculinity, but it doesn't scream it from the billboard. It's almost like Swimming with Sharks meets Fatal Attraction, kind of. It's a really dark and weird and kind of funny movie that I think if more people had seen that, they would have been like, Power of the what?
Yeah. So we just got a couple more big awards that just came out. So two of them, I think we already talked about Drive My Car a lot. It won Best International Feature.
Right.
That was one that I thought was going to win for a second there. I thought it had a lot of momentum behind it and could win Best Picture as well. Then I don't think it's going to anymore because I have a taped interview that we're going to play here in a little bit, and he convinced me. But it did win Best International Feature, and then Kenneth Branagh won Best Original Screenplay for Belfast. Have you seen Belfast?
No, I do want to see Belfast because I like Kenneth Branagh a lot. But honestly, from the clips that they've been playing tonight, it doesn't look like a very well directed film. Maybe that's just because of the clips they're showing, but I'm looking at the visuals of it. It just looks very flat. Like, is the whole movie just like these weird portrait like close ups of people talking directly to the camera?
Not a lot of talking directly to the camera. I didn't get a lot of that. I like the black and whiteness of it. I just thought that was a fun thing. Again, I don't have the technical expertise, but I don't know. I guess it won for original screenplay, so I could see the original screenplay though because it was a very heartfelt screenplay, and you can tell it's. I made the joke about it. White guys have problems too, but like it was the Belfast. The situation in Ireland at the time was very. It was very. They struggled a little bit, and then Kenneth Branagh, he related to that because he lived through it. So being told from that heartfelt perspective, you could feel it in the script. So I think it's worthy for this award.
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of missed it. I mean, I'm a big fan of Kenneth Branagh. I mean, they had Lily James out there, with the kind of trio of the live action Disney princesses. Yeah. I absolutely loved his take on Cinderella. I thought it was, it's probably the crown jewel of the remakes. Yeah, it's a shame too, because he directed the hell out of the movie without a whole lot of special effects. I mean, he relied on like practical sets and the amazing costumes, and Cate Blanchett was just a knockout performance. So yeah, Branagh all the way. I just haven't seen Belfast, and yeah, I gotta check it out.
What was really surprising, though, from this year's Oscars is whenever he went up there and accepted the award in character as the guy from Murder on the Orient Express. That was really funny. That didn't happen.
I would have loved to have seen that.
Oh, I wish. Do you think? Okay, he has the mustache. And he just doesn't explain it. He does the French accent. He's like he doesn't explain why.
Or he does. He goes up there as Poirot and he accepts his speech in an Irish accent and doesn't explain.
It really amps it up. I'm trying to think. I think that might be where we're caught as I look back at the Best Adapted Screenplay. Now I figure out what. CODA won for Best Adapted Screenplay.
Now, what was that? Was that adapted from a novel, or do you know what was that? What was the source material?
I still have it pulled up right over here. So let me write in development. It was a French film. It was a remake of a French language film that came out in. It looks like a recent French language film. So let's find this release date right here, 2014. So yeah, really recent. Yeah. So if you want to make a good American Oscar bait movie, just take an existing good foreign film instead of just watching the original.
Indeed. I'm relying on you for some of this because I was watching the Oscars upstairs when I came down to my quote unquote office. Yeah. The TV I have down here is not connected to cable. So my crappy antenna blanked out on me, so I haven't seen any results since. I mean, like okay. And Kanto was the last one that I saw.
Yeah.
Like it win anything. I liked that Dune is getting a whole bunch of love because that's, I'm
So-
a big Dune fan.
Well, let's talk about that for a second, and we're going to take about another 5 minutes here, and then I'll play a 15-minute long interview, and then that'll give us both a second to kind of use the bathroom and do whatever we need to do. Brenden Gallagher, friend of the show, he talked about his short film Dollar Generals. I'm based in Oklahoma. He's coming to the film festival in Tonkawa, Oklahoma, and so we had a lot of fun talking about his predictions, some of which are still relevant. So. But yeah, so I did not like Dune. What am I missing? It just felt like I didn't like the structure of the story. Big sip.
Let me ask you: Have you read Frank Herbert's novel?
No, I own them though.
You own them, but you haven't read them.
Oh, my friend, that's the case for most of my books.
I would recommend reading the novels, at least the first one, and then watching Villeneuve's Dune. Now, it might be that you don't like the novels. I watched David Lynch's version of Dune. I was like, it's goofy, but it's kind of okay.
Okay.
Then I read Frank Herbert's Dune, and then I went and saw Villeneuve's film. And now I can't stand David Lynch's Dune. I don't think he read the book. I'm for sure he didn't understand it. As much as I appreciate him as a director, he's not the person to make that film. Villeneuve is. And if you don't like his movie, that's understandable. I get it. But if you're a fan of that book, there's very little really that he left out. Now, he left out some significant things, but it's like, unless you want it to be 4 hours long, you're going to have to sacrifice
I
some
said
stuff.
this in my Dune video. I almost wish that I just don't like that they didn't adapt the whole story. It feels like it's one part of a story, and not in a way like it's part of a trilogy, like it's one film in a trilogy. Like it feels like it seemed like they sacrificed the structure of that one movie to make it part one of two, and then I feel very left very unsatisfied by the structure, and then I had another point that I lost, but yeah, it's mostly the structure. No, I like all the technical stuff. That's what I was going to say. I like all the technical stuff. It's a well-made film. I like the world.
And that's sort of the problem is if you read the book, or if you had read the book before you saw the film, you might have had more patience with this being a part one, because there's no way that they can, because the movie Villeneuve's Dune leaves off in the book, it's like a third of the way through. So there's a lot more material to get to story-wise. I think they're going to have a trouble cramming the rest of it into a part two. But if they had adapted the entire thing, it would have been about a 6-hour-long movie, and no theater is going to sustain that, especially when we're just coming back.
But HBO Max, you could have just been. I don't know, and I don't know where that decision lies. If HBO Max or if Warner Brothers could have come to him and said, "Hey, we're going to make this an HBO Max limited series," and if he would have been like, "I refuse," then they'd be like, "Okay, we'll put it in theaters." But like, who has that much power? I don't know. Maybe he does.
Well, I was surprised that they hadn't even greenlit the sequel. Like, I was thinking, I was thinking, okay, they're putting the first one out. The second one is like probably halfway through the special effects or something, so it can come out next year. But no, they hadn't shot anything,
which was weird. Now we have all these casting announcements, like Florence Pugh was joining. I'm like, when they did Pirates of the Caribbean 2, and they knew that they were going to do Pirates of the Caribbean, they had that shit shot immediately. It was so easy to put out, and I just felt like it was a weird strategy. I was going to say it was like a publicity stunt kind of thing, but it seems like it was just genuine, just inefficiency on their part.
I don't think it was inefficiency. I think it was caution. Because Dune Part 1 is such an expensive movie that they didn't want to commit to, like, let's say it costs $1 billion to make parts 1 and 2. They're like, we're not going to flush $500 million down the drain. We'll take the risk on this first one. And if it does well, and I was surprised that they even greenlit the second one because it was well received, but it didn't exactly light the world on fire. It wasn't Spider-Man No Way Home, for crying out loud.
Right. Okay. With that, let me do a quick double check on the awards, see if there's anything big that's come out, but this is going to give us a nice chance to catch up on what we've missed. If there's been any like big moments or anything, like I'll check my YouTube feed as well. And then this is loading right now. Adapted screenplay was the last one, so that gives me a second. If you guys will bear with me, I'm going to play this. If it's okay with you, Ian, I'm going to play this 15-20-minute video interview with co-director of Dollar Generals, Brenden Gallagher. Let me pull it up. This is always the most fun part, and it's going to start playing immediately. So we'll play that, and then I'll see you guys on the other side of this 15-minute video.
Awesome.
The filmmaker, the co-writer, and co-director of Dollar Generals, Brenden Gallagher, is with me. Hey, Brenden.
How's it going, Sam? Thanks for having me.
It's so good to see you. And this is the perfect time. We were talking about this a little bit before we started taping. This is the perfect time to have you on because, you know the industry, but also you have a short film coming out. So I got to ask you, from where you're sitting, what do you predict is going to happen this year? What do you see in the Best Picture nominees if there is a trend?
For me, I think it's Power of the Dog's year. I think a lot of the other competitors either weren't as strong critically or weren't as strong in terms of box office. And, I think the narrative around Power of the Dog that, when people really focused on female directors and Jane Campion kind of finally getting, what I view as a long overdue sort of entry into the Hall of Fame of directors. It just feels like the right year. So I predict Power of the Dog for Best Picture. I predict Benedict Cumberbatch for lead actor. Now, I will say I think it's not going to completely sweep some other things I see. I think there's a lot of excitement for the actor from CODA and Best Supporting Actor, Tony Kotzer, if I'm saying that correctly. There's a lot of billboards for him here in town. I think that the acting branch is really excited for him. And then my other sort of light prediction is I think even though Dune didn't get in for best director, I think that we're going to see Dune get some craft love, on the technical categories. So those are sort of the things I'm confident about. And then I'll say, I think that there are some really competitive categories. I think Best Supporting Actress and Best Actress are two that I think are less decided than some of the studios would like us to believe. I think that they're trying to sort of just force a narrative. And I think we might see some surprises in that regard. And otherwise, I think a lot of the categories are a little bit out in the open, but if I was a betting man, I would say Power of the Dog wins at least 4 Oscars. And that is my lock, take it to the bank prediction for the award ceremony.
Do we see like a chance for a CODA or something to sneak in there?
I enjoyed CODA very much. I thought it was a good film. I really like a lot of the performers in addition to Tony Kotzer. I like Marlee Matlin. I like Eugenio Derbez, who played the teacher in the film. And I think it's a good movie, but I don't know that the energy is there. I think historically, Apple has had trouble running awards campaigns in recent years. And so for me, I think that the energy is there for Power of the Dog, and I think the support is there. And I also think the film is of a great quality. I think that, for me, it was one of the top couple films I saw last year. And I think it's my favorite, both technically and creatively, of the field. And so I just think it's one of those years where we're not going to see an upset. I don't see it as very competitive. And, the Oscars do sometimes lean towards its so-and-so's turn. And I think both Jane Campion and Benedict Cumberbatch have been around long enough and done enough great work that I think they'll be rewarded not only on the strength of the film they made, but the body of work. So, I'm really, really confident, more so than most years. I don't see it as the same kind of horse race it is a lot of times. I think it is absolutely going to be Power of the Dog. And I think the surprises that are going to come are going to be more in those acting categories where there's a number of strong performances and maybe some of the the heartstrings tugging narratives that have sway at some of the other award shows like Critics Awards and things like that don't play as well when it's the professionals in the branches voting. So, I could see, for example, it wouldn't surprise me if Kirsten Dunst won in Best Supporting Actress or, some of the other performers that we haven't seen winning other branches. But I'm just not confident on those categories. But as far as Best Picture, Best Director, yeah, for me, Power of the Dog is going to win.
For me, this is a year that I thought was really interesting because towards the end of last year, of course, it all changes as you see more movies, of course, but towards the end of the last year, I was like, when I saw Licorice Pizza, I was like, this is something that has a lot of the ingredients towards something the Academy could like. So I was really like, Licorice Pizza has a good shot of winning. Then I heard a lot of the buzz behind Drive My Car, and then now it really does seem like it's down to Power of the Dog and CODA. So it is interesting how it's just kind of, or at least from my perception, it's kind of been shifting.
Well, I think that's fair. And I think that also, as films come out, there is excitement about them. And I do think Drive My Car is a film that really excited cinephiles, excited people in town. I know that a lot of my friends really trek pretty far to go see it. I mean, we went up to a theater we don't normally go to in Glendale, about 20 minutes from where we live, just to catch it. And I think it's a wonderful film. But I will say that Parasite to me felt like a little bit more like a film that might be made in Hollywood, but with the artistic quality of the Korean cinema. Whereas Drive My Car is not the kind of movie that you see made in America. It's slow. It's an adaptation of a theater piece. It's very Japanese or Eastern in its sort of perspective on life and philosophy. And so I just don't see it being the kind of film that crosses over into the mainstream the way that a Parasite did. And, while it won a lot of accolades in sort of international festivals or international award ceremonies, I don't see a path for it unless maybe it does something like a screenplay or something like that. Though I know that adapted screenplay category is really competitive this year. So I wouldn't bet on that. But if Drive My Car were to take anything home, I think it would be something like that, because I think that the film is just not the most accessible for the average viewing audience. The section of the audience that votes for a film like a Green Book or a La La Land is not going to come to Drive My Car. Whereas some years, those foreign films cross over in a more effective way because they have a more relatable structural element, perhaps, or talent that lets it get beyond that niche status. And it's nothing against the filmmaking. I think it's a great film. I just don't see it in an advantageous position at this year's Oscars.
Like you said, yeah, it's just about that accessibility, which makes a really good point. And last thing, you mentioned it's kind of the year, or could be kind of the Academy's approach to be like, it's your turn kind of thing for giving an award. Could it be Will Smith's turn to take home Best Actor?
I think it could. I think people really like Will Smith personally. I think he's really respected by the acting branch, which is a significant amount of the Academy. I think people like him. And I don't see, I personally prefer Cumberbatch's performance, and I think he's well liked too. But that's one of those places where I think with the acting statues, there's so much ebb and flow in terms of that contest as it goes on, and a lot of different factors that go into the win. So I wouldn't be surprised if Cumberbatch doesn't win it. But I will say on my bracket, if I'm trying to win the Oscar pool, I'm going to circle Cumberbatch for sure.
Now we got to talk about your movie, your short film, Dollar Generals. I think it already began its festival run, and then the next stop is the Tonkawa Film Festival.
That's right. Yeah, we premiered at the Chicago Irish Film Festival a couple of weeks ago, which was really fun. My last name, Gallagher, my wife, my co-director and co-writer, Claire Downs, is also Irish American. So we submitted thinking maybe we'd get in, and we did. And 90% of the filmmakers were Irish from Ireland that were in the festival. So that was cool to meet a lot of people from another country and hear about, their filmmaking experience. And so that was our premiere, which was kind of felt like a hometown premiere because Claire, my wife, is from Chicago. And then we've had a couple virtual festivals, including Bull City in North Carolina. But again, that was only online. And then Tonka will be the second of our in-person festivals. I've never been to Oklahoma, so I'm really, really excited. And the film, it's sort of it's like a heist comedy drama mix, kind of in the tone of like early Coen Brothers kind of stuff set at a dollar store. And it's very much like a neo-Western feeling to it. And so we're thrilled to be screening at Tonkawa because we think that the vibe there will really suit the film and the audience will really connect with it. So we couldn't be more excited. And the team there hosting the festival has been really, really generous in putting it together. And we just can't wait to check out the town and see Oklahoma.
Yeah, I love that. You mentioned it's you're in Oklahoma. I am in Oklahoma, obviously. So and it's funny because I live like less than 2 miles away from a Dollar General store. So it's just something that you see pretty often here. And I was like, I want to see like the story, of course, is a bandit duo couple. They kind of get this scheme where they can steal money from a Dollar General stores as they get robbed often, and it's a lot easier to steal them than a bank. So like that premise with something that relatable, to me being here in the small town in Oklahoma, I'm like, oh, okay, I want to see more about that. So let's talk more about the film, though. I didn't catch that until you just now mentioned it. I should have done more research that you co-wrote it and directed it with your wife. That's so cool. Right. So does that lead to arguments at all?
No, we're both TV writers professionally. I most recently wrote on a show on Netflix called Warrior Nun. It's about nuns that fight demons, coming out this summer. And my wife has been a head writer for several shows on Peacock Kids. And so, we have written features together. We've worked together on a lot of writing. And so it's kind of natural once we staffed and started having a shift in terms of working consistently to make something together. And honestly, it's been a dream collaboration. And we're actually prepping our next short now.
I don't want to ask the most basic question of all time, but I based on how the plot is kind of interesting to me. How did you guys come up with this plot together?
Well, I'm from a very small town in Pennsylvania called Stewartstown of about 2,000 people. And so, rural stories and working class stories were always really interesting to me. And, both Claire and I moved out here from New York. So we've driven across country separately and together a few times. And one thing we noticed was so many dollar stores have cropped up in the last 5 or 10 years as Walmarts and shopping malls and things have closed. They've become sort of a fixture in the American landscape. And, we came across an article in a couple of publications. ProPublica did a great one, but some others did too, about how dollar stores are now the most robbed stores in America because Walmart is very difficult to rob, and banks, you really can't rob them anymore, as the film Hell or High Water explored, a few years back. And so we thought that was such a fascinating setting for a story. And we thought, that neo-Western kind of heist setting really lended itself to a dollar store. And so we created the fake Dollar General value dollar, which the font is close, but not so close we could be litigation, And so that's kind of where the idea came from. I think we just really love the American West. We love small towns. We love driving through the rest of America. And I think, I feel like there's so many stories that take place on the coasts. I always love the opportunity to tell a story that shows you another part of America.
And then a lot of this cast I wasn't familiar with before this short film, but Bob Clendenin, I love Scrubs. I love that 70s show. So you got to tell me a little bit about how you brought together this cast, but also what it was like working with him.
Oh, well, thank you for asking about Bob. We really love Bob, and he's just the most wonderful person to work with. And we're actually, should his schedule permit, planning on working with him again on our next film. And so, when you make a short film, you go out to some actors you have in mind and go through agents and managers and things like that. But we combine that approach with some auditions. So the two leads, we just didn't find quote unquote names that made sense in terms of schedule and timing and ability. So we actually hired a casting director for those two roles, a guy by the name of Marty Fortney, and he watched hundreds of tapes for both parts because the two leads are in their early 20s and they're very pretty. And one thing we are not in short supply of in LA is pretty actors in their early 20s. So he watched hundreds of those, and he happens to have a pre-existing relationship with Bob. And he's like, Bob would be great for this robber role at the beginning. And we were like, well, we love Bob, let's see if he'll do it. And to Bob's credit, he was all about it, really game, and wanted to do it. He just loves to work. And, he's doing Dave right now, he's doing a bunch of other stuff, but he found the time because he just loves to work. He actually also runs and is acting in a lot of theater in Atwater Village, which is adjacent to Hollywood. So he's doing productions there as well. So I think it's credit to Bob's work ethic that he made himself available. And we had a couple other kind of known actors. Woman towards the end of the film at the gas station, her name is Cinda Adams, and she's been on This Is Us and Good Girls and a lot of sort of supporting roles in that regard. And then one of the robbers, David Hayter, video game fans may know him as the voice of Snake in Metal Gear Solid. So, and these are just people that, we have connections with, or friends of friends, because being out in LA, you just sort of meet people. And we do have some fun attachments for our next one, which I'm keeping under wraps, but I can confirm that Bob's going to join us again. And gosh, you couldn't ask for a better collaborator. On Twitter, he's sharing every film festival we're getting into and really supporting it, just like he would if he was on a big network show. So love Bob, and so thrilled to have a chance to work with him.
That's amazing. And you're kind of starting to get into that Tarantino, Scorsese-esque territory, where you're going to have your regulars that you're always working with. So that's kind of fun. Well, I'm always curious whenever people working on a short film or any sort of like more independent project, because there are so many challenging things, but what was the most challenging?
Location. Location I find is always the least fun and most challenging thing. I like scouting them, but finding them is just such a pain. And we were hoping we could shoot in one of those dollar stores that's not a Dollar Tree, a Dollar General, or a Family Dollar, but some independent. And we scouted a bunch of them, and either they were actually owned by a bigger company, they couldn't get permission, they wanted too much money, they wouldn't close. And so we got really lucky because north of LA, we actually shot in the Lancaster Palmdale area, which for those who aren't familiar is about an hour and change north of the center of LA. And they have up there a few what's called movie ranches. So from back in the days of like Westerns or kind of Rebel Without a Cause type movies, there are these places where these standing sets will be like a motel, a gas station, a restaurant, and a bar or something. And the one that we toured, it was a convenience store. So we just had to dress it a little bit to shift it from more of a gas station to more of a dollar store look. Then there was a house standing we could use as the character's house. And there was a standing gas station set, which was a scene at the end of the film. So, and then the exteriors could just be around it. So functionally, we got lucky because it ended up just being one location instead of 4 that we had needed. But that was after scouting. Gosh, I would say we looked on Google Maps at $500 stores and saw physically 50 to 75. And that was just a labor of love, we'll say.
Well, congratulations on the film. It's really got a really unique style to it. And I was laughing out loud at times. It's really a fun watch. And I encourage everybody to check it out. It's going to be at the Tonkawa Film Festival in Oklahoma. Can you give us a little bit more information about how they can, if they want to check it out, how can they check it out and everything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I have to give credit to the town of Tonkawa. It sounds like a really amazing festival. It's going to be on the 8th and 9th. There's going to be 30 short films showing over the weekend, and our film will be showing in block 4 on Saturday, April 9th. It's the 4:30 to 5:30 p.m. block. But I encourage folks, especially if you're within striking distance of Tonkawa, you can come out, see all the films. On Saturday, there's going to be a parade. There's going to be some dancing and a concert. There's going to be some meals. It sounds like the town of Tonkawa is really rolling out the red carpet for us and really making us feel at home, some Oklahoma hospitality. And any of the fans will have to message me and tell me what food I have to eat in Oklahoma while I'm there, because I've never been, but I will say the local diner's chicken fried steak looks really, really good. So I'm excited to spend the weekend in Tonkawa and can't wait to meet the other filmmakers and the festival team.
Awesome. Brenden Gallagher, thank you so much. And before we get back to our Academy Awards coverage, I'm trying to keep it tied to the Oscars. One thing that we've been doing here on the Film Fan Club show, we really care about an election integrity, especially when it comes to the Academy Awards, something as important as the Academy Awards. And Annette, I'm sure you've been following this scandal, right? The Annette, it was nowhere to be found among the nominations. Do you think, with your professional insight, do you think there's any chance that there's any sort of, I don't want to say the R word, rigging. Do you think there's anything like that going on? Why is that Annette nominated?
No, I don't think so, Sam. I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know what that guy's deal was. He dropped the ball as well. Everybody's against me on this. I don't know what the big deal is, but I don't know. Ian, how are you feeling? We've entered the last 30 minutes of the night. Annette hasn't been able to make any surprise appearances at the Oscars. I haven't even seen Adam Driver all night. Oh, you might be. Oh, I think you're muted, Ian. See, this is part of the sabotage.
Sorry, no, I had it cut off because I never know how the StreamYard stuff works. So I didn't want to be pouring coffee or something during your interview, which I really want to see Dollar Generals now. That sounds great.
Well, okay. I don't know. He's a good filmmaker, but he's wrong about some things too.
Listen. Have you been watching this telecast?
No, I haven't. I've been looking at the awards. I have some things about what's come out of them though. What's the telecast been like?
I don't know. I haven't been watching it either. I've been doing some other stuff and listening to your interview. But no, I've got some friends who are watching it on a Facebook group, Earth's Mightiest Critics, and they're saying there was just some incident where Will Smith may have gotten into a fight with Chris Rock and there was a punch thrown, and they're saying it looks like it might not have been a joke. Something about some jab at Jada Pinkett Smith.
Hang on. I'm going to Twitter right now.
I don't know. This could be
latest. What on earth is Will Smith's acceptance speech going to be like? Is what somebody tweeted. Did Will Smith just bitch slap Chris Rock? So was that Chris Rock Will Smith moment scripted or not? Oh my gosh, what happened? Where's the video?
It'll be on.
It's
It'll
gonna
be
be
on. The
on.
news.
Oh, it's gonna be on in like 30 minutes. I'm gonna be pissed.
Oh, and then and apparently he said at one point he said yes, and then screamed, "Take my wife's name out of your fucking mouth." There was literally 45 seconds of dead air from the audio.
Oh my gosh! Somebody said, "Oh, I lost. I can't move on from that." Will Smith really punched Chris Rock on stage and cursed him out for that Jada joke. Nah. Oh my gosh! I should be crediting all the people that I'm reading their tweets. They are fun. These are fun. Oh my gosh! Thank God something happened. Am I right? I just thought the most exciting thing was going to be that Dune took home everything.
Well, I don't know if Will Smith is King Richard, but he certainly appears to be the King Dick. But I'll say, it's fine. It's something.
What's fine? Exactly.
Well, the whole situation. I mean, if I don't know if this was planned or if it's spontaneous or whatever, but it's maybe this won't be my last Oscars. Maybe I will tune in next year's.
Yeah, was that why? Because we were going to talk about fan favorite. Because before I heard about that, the most exciting thing was that Spider-Man didn't win fan favorite. I thought that was a lock.
Me too. That's it. I'm flabbergasted. I want to see, because earlier in the evening they did the 5 best stand-up and cheer moments from movies, and right. I think they said that was decided by the fans or Twitter or somebody, and it's like the last one, number 5, was the Flash entering the time stream and Zack Snyder's Justice League. I'm like, who remembers that scene, and also who quote unquote stood up and cheered for that moment? Yeah, I don't know.
Whenever I was watching the Justice League Snyder cut, it was like 4 a.m, and I was like, that was cool. That looks cool. I was like, just like casually like sitting in my couch. I was like, well, that's not. I like the little artistic touch he did there. That was about it. It wasn't cheering. So wait, what won for that?
Oh, it was just like a countdown thing. I think it was like the top 5, and it was like Spider-Man: No Way Home, the 3 Spideys swinging into action, Jennifer Hudson singing I'm Telling You in Dreamgirls. There was that moment of Zack Snyder, and there was a couple others I don't remember, but it was just an odd thing. Well, so yeah, like Army of the Dead beat out Spider-Man.
That's what pisses me off. Is like, I know that Snyder fans are rabid, but like, if you want to do something with your power, make Zack Snyder's Justice League the fan favorite of the year. It was better than Army of the Dead. I like Zack Snyder's Justice League more than Army of the Dead. But I'm assuming you didn't like the movie.
I didn't like either of them, but I would have to put Zack Snyder's Justice League over Army of the Dead, because at least it was an improvement on something semi-original, whereas Army of the Dead was derivative of like a lot of things, and I found it kind of tedious and yikes.
Right.
But they're going to make more of them, so there's like a prequel movie and a sequel, and everything's all greenlit and ready to go.
Yeah, I didn't see that. Did that Army of Thieves already come out? I didn't see that one.
No, I think that's. I think that's. Is that the prequel? I think.
Like that's the prequel spinoff. I think.
Yeah, I don't even know if they've filmed that yet.
They did a trailer. I could have swore they did a trailer. I don't know. We're way off topic.
Okay. Yeah.
It's like, in a surprise, because the topic at hand is, in a surprise appearance, BTS shared their love for Disney movies at the Oscars.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I love that on ABC.
I know, right?
That's amazing. I wonder how they got that. Cruella won Best Original Costume Design. Yeah, Best Costume. Did you see Cruella? I like the costumes.
I did. I think the costumes were, again, kind of the best part of the movie. Yeah, I'm not upset about that.
Did you see Summer of Soul?
No. Did that win for documentary?
That one documentary feature. I don't remember what the other documentary nominees were. I didn't see Summer of Soul either.
I like the idea of what Summer of Soul was about, and I've heard nothing but wonderful things about it. Like, I've not heard. I know several people who've seen it, but I've not heard anything other than it was mind blowing. Now, contrast that with Power of the Dog. I know a lot of people who saw that, and it ranged from "it's amazing" to "it's okay." Yeah, so like high marks for Summer of Soul across the board. And that's the thing is, honestly, in years past, when there's a movie that I haven't seen that's nominated for an award and it wins the Oscar, that, you know, kind of has the desired effect, I guess, of making me say, hey, I want to go check that movie out. I think the same thing happened with Moonlight a few years ago, that whole controversy. You know, everybody saw La La Land. Nobody knew what the hell Moonlight was outside of like the people who made it and film critics.
Yeah.
But I think afterwards there were probably people who were like, wait a second, something beat La La Land. There was this whole thing on stage.
Oh,
What is
yeah.
the movie that beat La La Land? I got to go check that out.
I remember I didn't see Moonlight. I did a double feature on March 3rd of 2017. It must have been March 3rd of 2017. I did a double feature and I saw Logan and then I saw Moonlight, and that was a great day. It was a really good day. Those are both really good movies. But I was a huge La La Land fan, and I remember, I'll just quick story since nothing is happening that's funny or fun at the Academy right now. Quick story. I was at work. I work in local news as my day job, and I was at the station doing the evening broadcast, the 10 o'clock show, whenever that was happening, and then I got to finish my shift. Was like, I'll catch Best Picture before I leave, you know? And then they went up stage, La La Land. I was like, awesome, that's the movie I wanted to win. I'll catch the speech later, you know? I'll go, and I know that my favorite movie won. I went home. By the time I got home, my favorite movie had no longer won. It was terrible. La La Land still, I don't know what this says about me. People judge it. It's fun to hate things now. But like La La Land still one of my top 10 movies probably of all time. I think it's a great film. Moonlight, though, I get why it won. It's a fine movie. West Side Story sucks, though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm there with you. I think I love the production of it. I think it was well acted. I mean, I love a lot about the movie, but you know, what comes down to it just seems like this weird vanity project in a lot of ways. Like they were trying to improve history by, you know, through a lot of the casting and a lot of the kind of the messaging and changing some things, some core things around about the film. But, you know, there's just a lot of conversation about the original film as if it were this like problematic, like really terrible piece of work.
Yeah, the reason we're getting a new one is because everybody loves it. It's like, come on.
Right, but it's almost like we have to correct this film. You know, we have to, you know, because the original had a lot of like white actors playing Latinos and, you know, the parts of the sharks or whatever, you know, and I understand that can rub some people the wrong way, but for the time it came out, it was a very progressive story idea written by very progressive people who, you know, they were working with the materials and the talent that they had at the time. And Rita Moreno, you know, won an Academy Award for that. And she has since come out in the decades later saying how she was uncomfortable with it and uncomfortable with the filming of the movie and all this other stuff. I'm like, well, you still took the award home. You know, I can't get inside of her head, but it just seems like a lot of rewriting of history as has been going on for the last, you know, half decade. It just rubs me the wrong way. So yeah, Spielberg can remake West Side Story. That's fine. I don't have to care for it.
I just remember whenever whenever Lenny and I did our best movies of the year video, he brought up West Side Story as one of his favorites, and it kind of set me off a little bit because I was like, I like Spielberg. It's it's another one of those movies. Technically, it's very well put together. I think it's fine. I just wish that Spielberg would have chosen any other project other than another West Side Story movie. I don't wish he would have done Annette because Spielberg probably wouldn't have done Annette as well as Leo Corral. But it was a good movie, and that was really good. I was rewatching it earlier this week.
Help me out with this Annette thing, because surprise, I've not seen it. I think we've established that.
I won't hold it against you.
Is this the joke that's gone too far, or is Annette really your favorite movie of 2021?
It is. I can safely say it's my favorite movie of 2021. I understand maybe. Well, it's superb as well. But it's really well put together. But also does have a unique style to it. They sing most of the dialogue. So that if somebody is like, that's just not my thing, I'm like, sure, that's fine. You know, I get it. But like Les Mis, they sing most of the dialogue. They do it better in Annette. You know what I mean? Like you can do it bad in a movie, you can do it well in a movie but you know, that part is subjective, but you can do it good or bad. And they do it well in Annette. The characters are really well rounded. They give these like Shakespearean like soliloquies, you know, so it gives you a insight into these characters in a way that you don't get in traditional films. It just kind of works for this film. It's the director's Leo Corral's first feature-length film that's in English. So from that feat alone, and like with all the thing that's all sung, and you have to have I feel like you have to have good understanding of the English language to make songs in the English language work.
Yeah.
So it's just a really well done technique. Adam Driver gives a stellar performance. He should have been nominated for best actor. And I'm not serious. I swear to God, it's funny to go on and on about it, but like it's a good movie. Yeah, and Marion Cotillard is like whatever in it, but she was also, she was good. I wouldn't, if she didn't get nominated, I'm not going to hold it against him. But because you got Spencer lady in there. So but yeah.
And that's the thing, is like the only thing I know about Annette was the early talk that there was a scene where Adam Driver, and you can tell me if this is true, I assume it is because that's what people were talking about. He sings a song while he's performing an act on, I think, Marion Cotillard. Is that correct?
Right.
And
that's right. And he does it really well.
Well, I would like to see that movie. But the thing is, that was all I really heard about the film, was this like kind of buzzworthy moment. And I wonder if it was just so weird that people were like, I'm not going to leave the house to see that. And if it's on streaming, I'll probably forget in a couple of weeks to watch it.
I think it is very niche. Again, I think that you can say objective things about films, like if they're well made technically, you can say, yeah, that's a well made movie, and I think it hits all the marks. But like the story and the way it's presented, I can totally see how it is something. I've explained what it is, because it's this larger than life. I don't know if you know anything about the plot, but Adam Driver is a stand-up comedian, and Marion Cotillard is an opera singer, and they have a daughter together, and then Marion, I don't want to say too much, but then they found that as their star is fading, their daughter has a rising star, so they kind of take advantage of her as a young child star, and it's this larger than life Shakespearean tragedy is how I describe it, and there's death, people die, and things like that. And by the end of the film, the characters are so changed, and you've gone on this like 5-year like journey with them, and it's really well done. And the subtle things, like the way the makeup and hair, should have won best makeup and hairstyling as well. But the makeup and hairstyling, the way they show the age in Adam Driver and like scars that he gets over the course of the film, it's just it's a technically well made film. But also, I love musicals, and I love what it went for. If that makes sense. Does that make sense?
No. It does. It totally makes sense. And just listening to give the synopsis, while kind of sounds like dancing around some spoilers, to me that holds more fascination than the entire however many hours runtime of Power of the Dog and West Side Story. Right. It sounds like something that people should be exposed to, and it's kind of daring and bold and a unique cinematic vision, which is what I think the Oscars need to appreciate. And
Another West Side Story from Steven Spielberg, who has done, like, he's a great director, but you see a Steven Spielberg movie and you kind of know what it's going to be like at this point. You know what I mean? Like, was Bridge of Spies really that? Were we going to be writing home about Bridge of Spies anytime soon? I think he did that one.
Yeah, he did. And that's the thing, is like, I liked Bridge of Spies. I liked BFG. That was when he was doing the whole like Mark Rylance trilogy or whatever. I don't know.
Did he do Ready Player One as well? Am I remembering that correctly?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, who's going to remember Ready Player One? The Academy. That's who.
Well, that's another thing. Is that was based? It's funny because I have a series that I do on Kicking the Seat called Page to Screen, where a friend of mine, Cole Rush, we read a novel and then we watch the film adaptation of that book. And the very first episode we did was Ready Player One. And it was the worst one we could have picked because we read the book. We both loved the story by Ernest Cline. The film is nothing like the novel, except for the character names. It's so strange. We kept looking at each other during that entire 2 hours of the screen we were at. Like, what the hell are we watching? And how are we going to talk about this?
I'm so sorry. I have the video. I don't think I can, but I wonder if I could like play the audio up to my mic.
Okay.
Oh. He just hits him. He goes, ow. Will Smith just effing hit me, and then it cuts out. The audio cuts out. Let me see if I can just play it while you can see it. The screen's way too small. it's not going to work. All right.
So
yeah, I have the video. You can see
so
he
Chris-
walks up there and just punches him while Chris Rock's standing alone on the stage. It's like on the middle of the stage. Everybody
So I
can
guess
see
Chris
it.
Rock made the joke. Will Smith just like walks up there and hits him.
Yeah. And then he yells something at him, and the audio is like cut out during this whole point. He goes, Will Smith just, and then cuts out, and then you can see Will Smith go sit down and start yelling, and then it cuts back after he's done. So it was like, I think it wasn't scripted, I don't think.
Yeah. Well, that's good. You know,
well, that's good.
it's just, you know, it just makes me wonder. As part of this whole, you know, the Oscars, yeah, I think that's why people are kind of tuning out in droves. It's because they put on this big sheen of like, it's Hollywood, it's showbiz, it's kind of like this fantasy, and everyone's great, and they all love each other, and they're all big Hollywood community family. But then we have news like, you know, Harvey Weinstein and that whole
or Scarlett
thing.
Johansson and Disney, or, you know, stuff like that.
Right. The walls are coming down, and when you have something like this happening on live telecast, Will Smith, beloved by millions, you know, for 25 years in his film career and 30 plus years, you know, starting off in TV and rap and all that stuff, you know, to see him just, if this is true, this petty, vindictive nonsense. I mean, I understand being upset that Chris Rock is calling out your wife or whatever from the stage, but going up and punching a comedian live on television, that's just the worst. No, it's not
classy. Yeah, I get that. It was for me as a person who enjoys chaos. I think it was great. Like, I thought that was amazing. But,
exactly.
But like it was. But again, I'm just sitting here with my YouTube show talking about the Oscars. So I'm gonna take a second. You got me on my whole Annette tirade, and that made me want to bring this up. I'm not gonna take us off screen for this one, but I will. It's because it's like just like less than a minute. But Lenny's not here, so I wish Lenny was here. Otherwise, he'd really get a kick out of it. But this is my third package, second to last package that I prepared. And this is the in memoriam set, because I have no idea when they do it during the show, but this is our in memoriam segment.
All right.
Is it gonna? There's no way. There's no way that was happening. I thought Red Rocket had a chance, though. I really did.
I still got to see that.
Yeah, Solo was good, too. Mass. That was my second favorite. It was so good. And then, of course, yeah. So... Gone, but not forgotten, let's say. Gone, but not forgotten. Wow. We will never forget you, old friend. Yeah, so what were your favorite, top 10 favorite movies? Is there anything that you were really waving the flag of that you didn't get to see honored at the Oscars?
Pretty much all of them. I mean, that's the thing, is I still haven't put out my best of the year list. I tend, it gets later and later, because I had this mistaken, you know, feeling at the beginning of the year that I'm going to go and catch up on everything. But partially because these things are so damn long, and partially because the list is, you know, it grows and grows and grows, that I just have to kind of give up at a certain point. I mean, I see hundreds of movies a year, but I don't see a lot of things that are nominated for, you know, awards. So, I mean, I have my top 21 list of 2021 somewhere flying around here, but, you know, looking like the movies like The Beta Test and Drunk Bus and Scenes from an Empty Church, you know, the films that nobody's heard of, and I think it's kind of a crime. It's like my entire list of the top 21 films of 21, with the exception of probably Dune being on there, they're all Annette in terms of they're like, nobody's seen them, nobody's nominating them for shit, and I'm fine with that.
You're better than I am, because I'm like, because I never got over that 1 year. Pardon me while I replace the battery on my camera.
Oh, do your thing.
But I'll never get over that 1 year of like being like, we were all on the same page. We all thought Annette was the best movie of the year, you know? And then it just hasn't been that way ever since. And I don't know why. All right, I'm almost back up here, so.
All right. But I mean, like,
Again, live television, folks. We appreciate you guys. Make sure you like if you like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and also check out Kicking the Seat, hosted by Ian Simmons.
woohoo.
All right, yeah, there we go. Got the thing back up. That's why I have a backup camera on standby.
So, like, looking at these, I pulled up my list. There's, the movie Val, the documentary about Val Kilmer. Did you see that?
I didn't. No, I heard a lot of good things about it, though, and I wanted to.
It's excellent. There's a documentary called The Boys in Red Hats, which was about the Covington kids and that whole controversy.
Did you interview the guy who did that one?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I remember I watched part of that interview.
Yeah, it was a great chat and a very, it was a solid film. There's a movie called The Sound of Violence, which unfortunately, Alex Noyer was the director of that. I talked to him, and is it Jasmine Savoy Brown? Is that right? She's in the new Scream movie. She was the star of that. It was a horror movie that came out last year. It was wonderful. The Frank Grillo direct to Hulu movie, I think Boss Level, which was the best video game movie I've seen that is not an actual adaptation of video games. It's fantastic. Like I love genre films because I think they tell us more about issues that we're facing more than these are issues movies that we're going to nominate for awards. Mm-hmm. So that's why it's always tough around award season, because I'm like, I have 20 plus movies that I could say are my favorite, but I still feel obligated to watch the quote unquote contenders. And I just never quite get around to seeing all of them.
But do you ever find that whenever you do watch the contenders, they don't change your list that much? Like, no. Other than Belfast, like when I watched Belfast, that immediately jumped up to number 5 and then bumped everything down. So that did kind of change my, if you go back and watch my best of the year video, it's a little bit outdated now because I hadn't seen Belfast at that point. But other than that, like I saw Power of the Dog, it didn't change my list,
I think it was a few years ago that I watched, back when I was getting my list out on time, like at the end of the year that I was honoring the films, I would catch up on something in February or March. I'm like, oh, that would have made the list. But yeah, it's very rare that happens nowadays. And that's all right, because that's the thing is there are hundreds, thousands of people making hundreds and thousands of movies every year, from the smallest micro budget indies to the biggest, Spider-Man No Way Homes and everything in between. That's like, if you find something that connects with you and that you want to share with people and let them know about it, I mean, I'm fine with evangelizing that way. I feel like going to tell someone, you got to watch this movie, it just won the Academy Award for Best Picture, that's not always a selling point. Yeah,
especially not anymore, because like I have a whole thing I'm going to do. My last package is the closing monologue that'll close out the show, but it kind of goes into the thing is they're really struggling to find the ratings, how to fix the ratings. But because I think part of it is because they're nominating these movies that are, I don't want to sound like everybody, but like, I don't know. I genuinely think Spider-Man No Way Home was a really good movie. You know what I mean? I think it was a really well put together film. And I think I think horror films also get discriminated against at the Academy Awards. I think the Academy has a certain type of movie that they want to nominate, and it kind of restricts them whenever it comes to reaching a large audience. And, if you want to play like, okay, you're better than that, you can commit to that, but just don't expect the ratings to keep up with that. You know what I mean? I hope that's a valid criticism.
I don't necessarily. The best films aren't necessarily. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to collect my thoughts here.
Well, I'm not saying popular movies are good, but I feel like you get a popular movie that immediately gets dismissed, like Spider-Man No Way Home, because it is so popular. You know what I mean? And again, I don't think it was my favorite movie of the year, but it was my 9th favorite movie of the year. I would have put it in the top 10.
I don't know if I put it in the top 10, but it's definitely on my list. Yeah. And I think you can easily dismiss it as, it's a multi-billion-dollar, it's a billion-dollar grossing pop culture comic book movie. But I think what people overlook is that it does a lot of things that I don't think people expect from a comic book movie, which is sort of reinvigorate this this genre that's very tired after however many 26, 27 movies. They found a way to be really creative about it. I did not want to see Spider-Man No Way Home because of the trailers, because I thought I knew every place that it was going. I knew, and this is a spoiler, but I mean, they already spoiled this during the Oscars, that they were going to bring back Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, right? But I thought it was going to be like,
kind of knew.
Right. And they'd been teased it, and Garfield was lying through all these interviews and stuff like that. And he kind of got copied and care, and that's one of the reasons I love him. But I thought it was going to be, it's a cameo. They're going to show up in some kind of like a multiverse montage or something like, hey, look. But the fact that they brought these characters in as integral parts of the story and sort of unofficially handed the baton off to Tom Holland, this is his really first standalone effort as Spider-Man. And they helped to define his character in a way that by the end of the movie, I was like, okay, I want to see more movies with him. I think that's quite a feat in of itself. And it's a powerful kind of emotional story with great big special effects. And there's nothing wrong with that. And as far as the Academy Awards, this has been said many times, and I did not originate the idea by any means, but if you're going to have a trio of hosts, and this would never work because it's like three white guys, right? Yeah, you can't, as you mentioned in your kind of Belfast thing, like, no one wants to see the struggles of like old white dudes. But get Garfield, Maguire, and Holland to triple host the show, and you could even make jokes about like how they're three people who are not associated with an Academy Award nominated film, but it was also the movie that made more than all those nominated films together.
Well, yeah, that's true too. But what about, as a presenter, like they've done that before. They had I remember I was watching a previous Academy Awards, highlights and stuff, and they had presenters just from people that were in one movie together, but it happened to be coming out that year. So like, oh, let's put these two out, because they're in a Disney movie, coming out this summer. So like to have those two in the biggest movie, or to represent, those three, from the biggest movie of last year, there to represent it. It would have been a fun fan moment. And it does seem like things like that, like the Oscars, that make the Oscars seem out of touch. That like they didn't even think of that idea.
And there's so much you can do from a humor perspective. Even if you didn't want to have the three of them hosting, you could have the three of them come out and be announced like, from the biggest movie of last year, it's Tom Holland from Spider-Man No Way Home. And Tobey Maguire comes out instead. And then later, you have, and here presenting the award for whatever is Tobey Maguire, and Andrew Garfield comes out instead. You could make a whole like bit out of it.
Yeah, they could play up the confusion aspect of it.
Right.
Best original song went to Billie Eilish and Phineas for No Time to Die at the Oscars. I can't remember what else was nominated, but I like to Lean from the French Dispatch. Aline from the French. Original song. It should have been So May We Start from Annette. Yeah, the first song. If you get a chance, Ian, if you take anything from this and before you go to bed tonight, watch the first couple minutes of Annette. It's the song So May We Start. They literally just say So May We Start over and over and over again in the song, and it's not even them doing the characters. It's Adam Driver and Marion Cotillard, like as the actors, like welcoming you to the show as if you're like you've just entered a theater. It's really fun.
Damn it. Okay, I got to see this movie now. And also, again, this sounds like something that is much more inventive than most of the Best Picture nominees.
Yeah. It's a great way to present a movie. And then, so I personally like Sympathy for the Abyss. Now I'm just talking about the songs from Annette. I personally like Sympathy for the Abyss, which is at the end of the movie. I wouldn't watch that though unless you've seen, or I wouldn't listen to it though unless you've seen the movie because it has spoilers for the movie. It's kind of the culmination of Adam Driver's arc in the film. So I could see why a lot of people, in the Academy, if they hadn't gotten to that point in the film, if they hadn't watched it yet, they wouldn't nominate it. But So May We Start. The thing that sucks is, let me show you. So I got this thing because I buy things on eBay sometimes, and this is a list of everything that they submitted to the Academy. You don't have to see it, but you just see it's a long list of submissions from the team behind Annette to the Academy for your consideration, as they do. And they took none of I'll just read off, since I'm here. Best directing, original screenplay, actor, actress, supporting actor, cinematography, editing, original score, original song, production design, best costume design, makeup and hairstyling, sound, visual effects. The daughter that they have, the daughter, Annette, is the name of the movie, because that's their daughter's name. She's represented, instead of getting a child actor to play her for most of the movie, because who wants child actors? They represent her visually through like a CGI puppet. because it's like a metaphor for how they see her, and because they're taking advantage of her talent. So it's a really well done film, and should have won visual effects for that. But yeah, original song they submitted. So it says right there. So they submitted "So May We Start." It was all written by this band. I think it was this French band called Sparks, and they wrote all the songs.
Yeah,
it was really good.
There was a documentary about Sparks that came out last year.
Oh, no kidding. Was that good?
Yeah, I think it was called Sparks.
Oh, did you see it?
No, David Fowley did. I think he presented it at the Tivoli Theater in Downers Grove, Illinois.
I wonder if he saw. I wonder if he saw that.
Maybe. Trying to find people who've seen Annette. It's like a small devoted fan club. But I want to talk about something like in terms of things that are nominated. I mean, that's what confounded me, and I guess it's a problem that's been going on for a few years. But the whole idea of you've got the nominees for Best Picture. There's like 10 of them, but still only 5 for Best Director or whatever.
Right.
So Dune got. It's so weird because Dune is getting all the, it's racking up all these awards tonight.
And I think it could have won Best Directing if it had been nominated, if Denis had been nominated. Instead, we just got the confirmation. This is a good segue, by the way. We just got confirmation Jane Campion won for Power of the Dog.
Yay.
We're both, I liked Power of the Dog more than you, but I think we're both just so sour on it that it's hard to get too excited.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do you think she took a shot at anybody else in her acceptance speech? She just went up there and she just was like, actually, I'm better than you, and I'm better than you, and I'm better than you.
I don't know. It'd be funny if she went up and punched Chris Rock in the mouth. But no, the thing is, like, it's so weird to me that you can have a film that's, because my question is, so Dune directed itself.
Right.
And I watched a bunch of the special features on the Dune, 4K disc, and everybody there is talking about, from the costuming to cinematography and editing, they're like, oh yeah, Denis was so involved and he really helped me shape the vision of this, and it was a collaboration. He's a maestro. I'm like, yeah, that's the guy you want to leave out of the category. I think they should make it mandatory. If you're going to nominate the film, the director should just be a package with that. Well,
then at what point do you just not differentiate between? Do you just do Best Picture / director?
It's, I don't know, because then you've got a situation like the famous split between Saving Private Ryan, Spielberg winning for director and Shakespeare in Love taking home Best Picture, back in '99. You can still have
I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
You can still have those splits. I just think that they should expand the director category to 10 and just
at the
pair them up. Yeah, and pair them up that way. I wouldn't necessarily have someone nominated for a director whose movie was not nominated for Best Picture, because that would be even weirder.
Yeah.
Like, we thought he did an amazing job on a film that wasn't worthy of attention. I don't know how you square that circle, but yeah. Because it would cost them nothing to expand, to make parity between the categories.
Yeah. Trying to think of Jane Campion, more things about Jane Campion.
I just realized that I swung my mic away a while ago, like at the interview, and have you been able to hear me this whole time?
Yeah, no, you're hopefully it's just like me with forgetting to plug in my microphone, as that I forget. I could hear you, but maybe you do sound better now. So
okay, cool.
So that's good. The podcast people are gonna hate me whenever I release tomorrow. But yeah, and then I'm gonna have to do. I don't know if it's funnier just to leave in the technical stuff at the beginning, because a good friend Larry commented. My grandpa, he commented in the left a comment that said Russia hacked the film fan club, and we know that they are up to their dirty tricks. So it could be true. We'll blame it on Russia. And then also Classic Modern Films, friend of the show, said, why did they slap Chris Rock? I am still wondering.
Here's what they're gonna do, because I assume you would have broken in with this if you'd seen it, but Zelensky has not made the appearance. He's gonna come out and announce Best Picture.
Oh, so can we just talk about that for a second? Like
the Ukraine situation, not a chance.
No. I don't want to touch the Ukraine situation. That's the whole thing. But just the tone deafness of bringing Zelensky. like, there's like bombs like crashing in the background. And he's like, hey, Amy, hey, Wanda, how are you guys doing? He like does a bit with them. It's just like, it just seems a little tone deaf. So I was like, oh, I'm glad that bad idea got, they aired that out and then they let it go. But then Sean Penn he's so devoted to the concept that he's like, no, we should boycott the Academy. We should boycott the Academy, not for this,
I want to give Sean Penn a basic history and geography quiz on Ukraine and its relationship with Russia. I want to see how he does, and then I will determine whether I listen to a thing he has to say about Volodymyr Zelensky. That's where I stand.
I agree with, I think it was Lenny that said earlier, I just want to see him smelt his stuff. I just want to see that. That'd be fun.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is like, if you guys don't do that, I'm going to smelt my Oscars. Those awards don't mean anything to him anyway. It's it's not like, oh no, please don't.
I wish I knew kind of how to do StreamYards a little bit, but I have the picture. I wish I could bring it up this is good enough. Yeah, it's good enough. There's the picture. Somebody snapped the shot. For those listening, I need to do a better job of this. For those listening to the audio only podcast, I'm holding up a picture. It's like mid slap. This is the biggest story. I prepared all these segments and everything just for a slap to do my whole show and just change it. But
somebody call Paul Newman. We've got a slap shot here. Sorry.
So I think that do we do best actor actress already, or are we still waiting on that?
You would know more than I. Like I said, my antenna is down.
I'm refreshing the Academy's official Twitter. Direction went to Jane Campion, and then original song went to Eilish and Phineas. Good for them. I like the Billie Eilish. I just went out of town, and she came on the Spotify, and I was like, it's not that bad. And my brother was like, turn it off, and I was like, yeah, I sure, why not?
I think I've only listened to a couple of Billie Eilish songs. One of them was that James Bond thing, and I just feel like she's like the cure for narcolepsy. Like Alanis Morissette was kind of my jam 25 years ago, but now it's like, I get it. You're depressed and you're tired and you've got millions of dollars in the bank, and I'm supposed to care, but I just don't.
My favorite is so I mentioned I work at a local news station as my day job, and I edit videos, as part of my job. And there's a Adobe Creative Cloud ad that is like recommended to me on Facebook, and it has Billie Eilish in it, and she says like, editing is my passion or something. And then all the B-roll is her just telling somebody what she wants done to the video, like not doing anything herself, just like, yeah, I think we should have it cut right there. And I'm like, that's not editing. Editing is like frustrating and like annoying. Just telling somebody, I think that you should end the video right there and then put a transition that like, that's not like okay. Editing is your passion. I get it. Other than that, I think she's a fine young woman.
Again, not to take away anything. I am more annoyed with a lot of these celebrities with the stories and the kind of packaging surrounding them, because I'm fine with just not liking Billie Eilish or not being interested in her whole thing, but she's just constantly pushed as like this great voice. And I'm like, yeah, she's got a good voice, but the couple of songs I've heard, I couldn't differentiate between the two of them. I was like, wait, this is a different song? Weird.
Yeah. I remember the Bad Guy song, and that was a lot of fun. Or you can make all the memes with that,
And you lost me. I am not hip.
Not hip to the things. I'm trying to figure out. So we do have best actor, actress, and picture left. I'm trying to think of. A lot of people do think it's Will Smith. I'm waiting for him. Do you think they're like worried that now, like the people that are producing the show are like, shit, he's gonna get back up on stage. He's not done yet.
Well, let's go down the list. Who's he up against in the category?
All right, let me pull it up. I was trying to vamp, but the Academy Awards 94th.
Oh, wait, hold on. Okay, I've got it here.
You do? Okay, thank God.
All right. Andrew Garfield, Tick, Tick, Boom. Benedict Cumberbatch.
I liked him. I liked Andrew Garfield. He was good.
All right. Benedict Cumberbatch, Power of the Dog. Denzel, Tragedy of Macbeth. Javier Bardem being with the Ricardos. And Will Smith for King Richard. Nobody is worried about Will Smith coming back up onto the stage to accept that award. It's not going to happen.
You really don't think that he's going to win? Okay, neither of us have seen the film in its entirety, but there seems to be a lot of momentum behind him. And then Brenden convinced me. He said a lot of times it's so and so's turn, and so I was like, maybe it's Will Smith's turn. But then I guess Brenden also said that it was going to be Benedict Cumberbatch probably.
And that's kind of where I'm at too. I would be surprised. Maybe Andrew Garfield in an upset. That'd be kind of interesting.
Way. There's no way. I think
that's why they call it an upset.
Right. I know. But like, I'm like, there's no way. Just thinking about it off the bat, I'm like, gosh, there's no way. Yeah, that's what I have to say about that. I'm trying to think of what was Best Actress.
Best Actress, I've got Jessica Chastain, Kristen Stewart, Penelope Cruz, Olivia Colman, and Nicole Kidman.
Nicole Kidman is the worst choice for that. She was awful in that awful movie.
Yeah, I didn't bother with Being with the Ricardos, and part of it, unfortunately, is because it's like it was an Amazon thing or whatever it kind of debuted in.
Yeah, it was. Again, nothing against Amazon, who put out a great piece of work with Annette. But other than that, yeah, I agree.
And that's kind of the trouble with this is even when you get A-list talent doing these movies for streaming platforms, there's still just this almost like a throwback made-for-TV movie kind of a tinge to it. Like if it didn't come out in theaters, it's just made for streaming.
Yeah, I hope that they get past that. I hope that Nicole Kidman, when she walks on the set of Being the Ricardos, directed by Aaron Sorkin, she's not like, oh, this is just some, made for TV kind of thing.
Well, but I'm saying that's a prejudice that I have. I don't know. And, again, I don't know how many people watching this awards ceremony even know what the hell Being the Ricardos is.
It was a bad movie is what it is.
And I think that was one of the other jokes I like from Amy Schumer is, all the decades of, women in comedy, and they make a movie about Lucille Ball with no jokes.
Oh, yeah, that's a good. Yeah, they played that movie so straight that you could not have any fun in that movie. It's really bad. But yeah, it was. I don't know. It was a weird year for Amazon because just you have such high highs with Annette, and then you have such low lows. And I don't know. I had a whole bit about how when is somebody going to give Amazon a shot? When is Jeff Bezos going to get a win? Honestly.
Well, he needs one now after the divorce. But here's what happens. All right, Will Smith wins. He goes back up onto the stage. And he hits Chris Rock with a tennis racket.
Oh no! Just like break over his head, like a comically like bust through, and he's like stuck like this for the rest of the show. And he's like, and for our next award, he has to do like Best Picture like this. That'd be really funny. I just hope that there's like an awkward like standoff where they're just like eyeing each other down. That's what I'm hoping. What I'm actually hoping is they hurry up with these freaking awards. That way I can finish up this live coverage.
Well, what are they doing right now?
That's the thing. I'm like, they said on the website it would end at the 3-hour mark. We are about to be 15 minutes past 3-hour mark. I didn't plan for this.
Well, and they have to, of course, get in, as we mentioned, their White Men Can't Jump 30th anniversary tribute. I'm like, a lot of movies turned 30 this year. White Men Can't Jump. Bad Lieutenant, turns 30 this year. I want to see a tribute to that.
I think Oscar. I think he might have. Did Will actually win? I think Will. Did Will actually win?
I don't know.
Control room. I don't have a control room. I'm trying to go to the Oscars official Oscars Academy Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And it does not say. Oh, yep. Best actor officially goes to Will Smith. So
wow. Okay, I was wrong.
This is wrong.
This is why people should not go to me for predictions.
Brenden was wrong. Brendan Gallagher was wrong. He works in LA. Yeah. Fuck that guy. He didn't get the net thing right, and he didn't get the best actor right. Cheers.
So there'll be two big clips from tonight playing tomorrow. There'll be the slap heard round the world, and then Will Smith's maybe awkward. It would be awesome if he just got up there and gave this heartfelt acceptance speech and thanked Venus and Serena, all that, and did not acknowledge any troubles from earlier in the evening.
Oh yeah, that'd be funny too. Yeah, he goes up and like it's a completely different Will Smith. Like he just didn't like. He's like, what slap? I didn't do anything. I think it'd be funny. The first thing he says when he gets up there, I'd like to thank Chris Rock. So that would be good. Oh, thank God we're almost done with this shit. The best actor goes to Will Smith. So yeah, I should have watched King Richard. It's on HBO Max now. I looked at it earlier today. I was like, you know what? I'm too busy, so I didn't watch it.
Yeah, I don't have HBO Max. But yeah, it'll be somewhere else, I'm sure.
I heard it was really good. I heard it was a good movie.
That's the thing, is I heard it was, it was a movie. And Will Smith was in it. So we'll see. And that's also the danger of listening to, people and film critics. There's a reason film critics get a bad rap, is because sometimes we can't even trust our own judgment and our own tastes. But
Here's him crying. It says, "I want to apologize to all of my beautiful nominees." So I think he went up there and cried because he felt bad.
Either that, or he's crying because he's, just proved himself the GOAT. I want to apologize to all my fellow nominees for being so amazing in ways that you were not.
That'd be pretty good. I want to apologize to all my fellow nominees. I'll try to work less hard next year. I'll try to let you catch up to me. He looks like he's genuinely. Is he really crying? That's so funny. What an arc for this guy in one evening.
Yeah.
They're a weird couple, him and Jada. I don't know what to make of them. I was blown away when I heard that they had an open relationship for the first time. I heard about it before it became public.
That whole, are you talking about the red table business?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
the fact that she messes around on him, it sounds like, and he had an affair with Margot Robbie or something.
Oh, I didn't know about that part. Was that during the Suicide Squad? Or sorry, Suicide Squad?
Not during but during Focus, or whatever that movie was they did before. They did a 2015 movie. It was like a heist film where they played love interests, and I think they messed around on the set of that. And then that's because they have an open relationship. And somebody told me that one time, and I was like, "What?" And they were like, think about it." And I was like, and I did some research, and I was like, "Wow!" And then the whole entanglement situation happens like a couple of years later, and I was like, I already knew about that. So I wonder how many people are learning about that tonight because of Best Picture Oscar.
Yeah, this might be my swan song for the Oscars. It's tough, because even in a situation like this, where they're bringing back some of the pomp and circumstance of the ceremony that they had lost in the last couple of years because of COVID. Now it's just like Hollywood melting down, and we're all it's almost like, the bread and circuses business.
For those just listening, it's the Will Smith from Men in Black holding up the memory eraser thing. Just like he gets up there and accepts the speech and just, I wish I would have made that joke. That's a good joke.
Here's a better meme. Is he's holding up the Oscar statue with the little light on the top coming out of the head.
He puts on the sunglasses. He doesn't say anything for his acceptance speech. He just puts on the sunglasses and then it says Will is going through these awesome. I wish I had a live. So my idea originally, I guess since I have the time, my idea originally was I was going to have ABC the live stream up in one corner, and then I was going to have the us talking up in the other corner, so that way I could watch, and then listen and then talk about what's happening, like do a play-by-play like people do of the NFL. And then I realized that you have to have like a service provider or something to do all these things, and it's hard. So I'm relying on Twitter.
Yeah, and I know they kind of like make it difficult, because I think you can get a preview on some of these, like you can get a one show preview and watch whatever you want. You can choose to watch the Oscars, but it's just, too many hoops. And I was, again, watching it on like broadcast television upstairs, but then I come downstairs and I have to rely on this dumb antenna. It was cutting in and out, so it was like watching it on as a strobe light presentation.
No, you're good. And again, I appreciate you making the sacrifice to come down and spend the Oscars on the Film Fan Club Show Academy Awards special. Last year we did a 15-minute long episode. We recapped the Circle Cinema, and then this year I was like, let's do it live. So it's been, as you and the audience have seen, there's been some technical glitches and there's been some lulls, but we've also had some really high highs, I think. So
Yeah, and I appreciate you having me on. This has been a lot of fun. I apologize for not being as well rounded and well versed in my viewing for the films of 2021, but as we kind of discussed, I watched a lot of movies last year. It's kind of the luck of the draw as to what's going to be put up for awards and all that.
And that's the fun thing. Like when I did my best of the year video, I had to do it. I did it one day before the Academy dropped their nominations. So that way I could feel good about it. I was like, these are my picks. I'm not letting anybody influence me. Yeah, like you said, I watched what I thought were going to be the important films along the way. But at that point, I hadn't done any going back and catching up kind of thing. It was like, these are my favorite movies of the year. I was pretty proud of that. I saw most of them, but yeah, we do this like, we're just doing this as we can.
Yeah. That's a continuous resolution on my part is I want to be able to watch more of the, important movies, because it could be that I'm dismissing something just because it's a nominated film. I'm like, I'm probably not going to be as moved by other people. And there's all this hype and stuff around it. It's kind of like, the more you see, like when you're watching YouTube and an ad for something comes up and interrupts the video you're watching, you're like, I actively do not want to buy that product.
Right. Like now I'm not gonna. Now right. I don't want Liberty Insurance.
Yeah. Although, damn it, now that earworm is in my head. Liberty. Yeah, I'm not going to finish it. But it's kind of like, everyone's talking about these movies. Like, you got to see Power of the Dog. It's nominated for, 17 Best Critics Awards and all this other stuff. I'm like, you're selling it too hard. Just let the movie be the movie.
That's the thing. I love whenever I discover a film too. Whenever I'm like, oh, this is like a net. Don't want to keep going back to it, but I will. But like a net, I discovered it because I heard it was good. And I was like, beyond that, I hadn't even seen a trailer. And I watched it and I'm just like, what am I getting? Because I like musicals. I'll admit that. I do like musicals. So I knew it was a musical. So I wanted to watch it because of that. But then I get into it. I'm just like, what did I get myself into? And it's so fun to just discover a film like that. And I feel like you're talking about, when you oversell a film to such a degree, you're kind of trying too hard. Yeah.
I mean, I'll say it's odd, but one of the movies that's on my list of 2021 films is The Eternals, the Marvel Comics movie, because it's so different. It's not just because it's different than a lot of our other Marvel films. I think Chloe Zhao really went for something unique and tried to take the Marvel universe in a different direction. I liked the direction she was taking it. I think it was a really kind of special movie, but it was reviled by a lot of people, and it did not get anywhere near the awards for any category.
Yeah, I didn't like that movie that much.
And that's fine. It's a very divisive film.
They didn't sing every line of dialogue, so I was kind of like,
If it had been a musical, you would have loved it.
I would have been singing. I'd be like, it's a steal. The fact that it didn't get nominated, they're just stealing it from The Eternals. No, I couldn't imagine. I have this says the uncensored extended version, so I'm going to play that.
Wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me. Get Mike's name out your fucking mouth. Wow, dude. Yeah. It was a G.I. Jane joke. Keep my wife's G.I. Jane no joke fucking mouth. I'm going to, okay? Okay. That was a greatest night in the history of television. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So we are here to give a documentary out.
So that's wow. That was tense. That was way tenser than I even thought.
I couldn't see the visuals. I know you were holding up your phone, but I could hear it, and I was watching it in my mind's eye, the theater of the mind, and wow. I could just see the awkwardness.
Keep my wife's name out your mouth. And he's like, it was a G.I. Jane joke. I don't know what could have been said.
It was probably about because Jada Pinkett Smith has, she's shaved, she got a shaved head. So I would imagine it was probably a joke about, because G.I. Jane was the movie with Demi Moore from 30 years ago where she was like the Marine recruit and she had shaved her head. It's probably something like that, if I had to imagine.
Okay. That's not, I was like, if he made a joke about her sleeping around on him, I would maybe like understand punching, but like, come on, it's about her haircut. Like,
well, again, I didn't watch. it could have been a joke about her sleeping around and looking like G.I. Jane.
Now I get that. I do get that. But like, man, it's a good thing Will Smith wasn't at the Golden Globes when Ricky Gervais hosted. That's all I'll say. Could you imagine? He goes up and punches him every 30 seconds. My gosh. We got a comment that said, do you think that Sean Penn will actually... I bet we'll never hear about this ever again from Sean Penn, is my actual prediction.
No.
Just no.
No. So is it done? What have we done? Best Picture? Did we?
That's why I'm refreshing constantly, anticipating Best Actress in Picture.
Or is Will Smith still crying?
That's all we got left. So I think I'm like, what more that could they be doing? Let me look. They're doing the In Memoriam. I should have timed it better. They're doing the In Memoriam right now. Oh, Best Makeup and Hairstyling goes to The Eyes of Tammy Faye. I didn't get a chance to see The Eyes of Tammy Faye.
Yeah.
I liked the premise. I thought it looked like a fun movie.
I did too, and I liked it. That's one that, again, I haven't seen, but watching the trailer, Jessica Chastain, she kind of disappears into that role, and it looked like there was kind of an evolution of her visually during the movie, and yeah, I can appreciate that.
Yeah, I liked that. I guess we could talk about this for a second. She did go and support the Best Makeup and Hairstyling team during the pre-show awards. So I appreciate. Do you think that most people do you think Rachel Zegler did that for West Side Story?
No, but I mean, Rachel Zegler is still brand new to Hollywood. I don't know that.
Just saying, she should have showed solidarity.
She's probably thinking about other things.
She's probably thinking, I'm going to post on Instagram after this. It's going to look amazing. Yeah,
it's possible. Yeah, I mean, Jessica Chastain. Yeah, I'm not going to defend an actress doing or not doing something, because I'm not in their head. I think it's really cool what she did.
I love that. Yeah, and I think it's kind of you want to complain about it to the Academy. The fact that because a lot of people said they don't like this new format. You want to really complain about it? Go get your ass off the red carpet and go support your movie. I don't know. That's how I feel about it. I feel very strongly, though.
I just wonder, I mean, maybe it's just because it's a Disney thing and they mandated all these changes and stuff, but couldn't the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences just do what everybody else is doing and just stream the damn show? Why does it have to be on ABC?
Why can't I watch it on Hulu right now? That's my thing. You can buy it. You can watch it if you have the Hulu Live, the special thing. But why, if you really want to get those eyes on it, those are just numbers you could be bragging about. I would be watching. I'd have it over there right on my television right now, so I could glance over and see what they're doing. But they're not making that available to me. And then those are numbers that they could have tomorrow. They're like, look at how many people streamed the Academy Awards. But instead they're like, no, they have the capability. Don't tell me they don't know how to put it on my television.
Oh, they absolutely do. And I think that it'd be something kind of fun is to, like what you're saying, put it on YouTube and you can see right there, 10 million people watching. And then you've got the magic moment of Chris Rock getting bitch slapped by Will Smith. And then you can see it
crazy.
Yeah, it's 13 million, 15 million. And Will Smith crying through his speech, 20 million because it's accessible. Because it's the kind of thing, it's quick, turn on ABC. Most people are watching, they're doing stuff on their phones. They're teeting her around oh, what happened?
Sorry, actress went to Jessica Chastain for Eyes of Tammy Faye.
Wow.
I did not expect that at all. Holy shit. Hang on. Who was she up against?
Jada Pinkett Smith. No,
she was actually up against Chris Rock. No, Olivia Colman, Penelope Cruz, Nicole Kidman, Kristen Stewart. There's a lot of sad Kristen Stewart fans in the audience right now.
I would. There was so much hype around her in Spencer that I was. That's kind of the shock to me.
Wow.
But, Jessica Chastain is a fine actress as well. I'm not upset by any of this stuff because I'm whoever wins. I'm not precious about any of these films because I haven't seen half of them. But whoever wins, they're all very talented people who deserve to be recognized.
I need to see The Eyes of Tammy Faye. I think it's also available on HBO Max. I am probably going to watch that before I ever watch Drive My Car. And probably before I ever watch, what was the other one that I didn't see? Oh, King Richard. Maybe I'll see King Richard.
Here's a question: aside from Timothy Chalamet, is Andrew Garfield like? Is there some kind of a special Oscar for appearing in the most films in a year? That, I mean, because if he was in Eyes of Tammy Faye, Spider-Man: No Way Home,
There's another movie
Tick
that he
Tick
did.
Boom.
Oh, he was. Wait, he was in Eyes of Tammy Faye too. Andrew
Yeah, he
Garfield
played
was?
Jim Baker. Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that. You're right. He was. I just because Jessica Chastain just took over that press tour. I feel like, and like all the buzz became about her that I completely forgot that Andrew Garfield was in that movie. And yeah, so yeah, he was in. I feel like wasn't he in another movie as well that he wore a lot of glitter in or something? That wasn't Spider-Man: No Way Home, wasn't Eyes of Tammy Faye, and wasn't Tick Tick Boom. I feel like there was a fourth movie that he did either in 2020 or 2021. There's another biopic. Let me pull it up while I have the time. But and again, Ian, I really appreciate you taking the time to spend this with us. And if you want to take this time to talk about where people can find you, you can go ahead and do that while I look up Andrew Garfield.
Oh, sure. Well, I'm Ian Simmons. You can find me. I run Kicking the Seat, which you can find at kickseat.com. Also, I have a YouTube channel. Just look up Kicking the Seat on YouTube. It's also an audio podcast. I try to do several shows a week between live streams and filmmaker interviews, movie reviews, roundtables, that kind of stuff. So a lot of fun. And please come check me out. If you like this stuff, then subscribe and share it with your friends.
And you're going to be talking about Moon Knight coming up pretty soon, right?
Yeah, on Wednesday, actually.
Yeah.
I'm calling it Wednesday Night Live with KNIGHT.
Yeah. I like. I'm looking forward to seeing Moon Knight. I don't know if I'm going to do any coverage of it or if I'm just going to allow myself to just watch it because I have a hard time. Do you ever run into this? I have a hard time deciding what I want to review and what I want to just enjoy because there is a distinction between the two.
I can't really. I don't review everything I watch, but I tend to only watch the things I'm going to review, if that makes sense. Like in terms of like written reviews are very sporadic because like this past month, I wrote a review of the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre and a review of the Batman, both of which went way over 3,000 words.
Well,
and
for
that's
the Batman,
because
that makes sense.
Right. But it's just because I don't write that often. So when I do, it just all comes out. Yeah. That's why a lot of the reviewing I do is like on podcasts and things. So I tend to, because I do a lot of episodes, I tend to watch movies and then talk about them. But in terms of like, I'm just going to watch this movie and have it be for me, I don't have a lot of time for that. And even when I am watching movies, like on the rare occasions where I'm watching something that I'm not going to review, I'm still kind of reviewing it in my head. Yeah. It's not something, I don't know if you have that same thing where you still have kind of that critic brain you can't quite turn off.
I can turn some things off. I started I'm about to jump into, I haven't decided whether I want to review it or not, but American Crime Story Impeachment, it's kind of like the Ryan Murphy, kind of trash TV kind of feel. So I'm going to watch that and just have fun with it. I did do an episode on the first 2 episodes of that show. But I don't know if I'm gonna revisit it on my channel or not because it also came out months ago. But now it just now hit Hulu, so I'm like, oh, I could catch that audience. But then I'm like, I don't want. But I'm also just looking forward to watching myself. So like, do I want to turn this thing? And I have plenty of, I'm gonna do a Fantastic Beasts episode. We're gonna do I think there's a Everything Everywhere All the Time or something that my buddy wants to talk about. So we have content in the works. So I'm like. At a certain point, I'm like, I don't want to overwhelm myself, and I just also want to enjoy things for fun because I like to watch media for fun. But luckily, with Annette, it's something like I can just, well, you know what I mean? Like I talk about it a lot, but I never did a film fan club show on Annette. I've just kind of incorporated it as a storyline, if you will, that runs through multiple episodes. And that's something new that we're trying this year as an arc. But like, it's never been overwhelming to the point where I can't enjoy the media.
Well, that's good that you can hold on to that. I know I find myself, here's a good example. I'm reading a book of interviews with film composers, like horror movie composers. Yeah. And since I started reading that book, I've watched a few movies, not even just horror movies, but the score that jumps out of me in a way that I hadn't even thought about music and movies before I picked up that book. And so now I'm like critically thinking about the music and it's kind of driving me crazy.
I'm sorry. I just got my brain just went all frazzled because I saw that CODA won Best Picture. So CODA officially the Best Picture of 2021.
Wow.
Yeah. Brenden Gallagher should definitely not do predictions for a living because he got them wrong. I'm saying that because I love him. I feel like I have to say. He understands that I mean that in good fun, but he's also terrible at predictions.
But this is kind of the same the thing. Like, I know Power of the Dog is a Netflix film. It had a very limited, it showed up in some theaters. But I mean, CODA, Jesus Christ, this is going to be one of those things where tomorrow people are like, "What the fuck is CODA?"
It's going to get more viewers this weekend than it has, or within the next week than it has to this point.
But I wonder if that's even true, because it might just be this thing. It's like, well, this movie I never heard of won Best Picture, and it wasn't Spider-Man, so who cares?
That's a good point. Well, what a loss for Spider-Man. That didn't even win fan favorite of the year. My gosh. So yeah, CODA, a movie that you said you hadn't seen yet. And then I just saw recently, I just saw recently when it hit streaming, and I thought it was fine. It didn't make my top 10. I thought Licorice Pizza was going to be the one that I thought Licorice Pizza was going to win. That's how bad I am at predictions. Up until because I'm dumb enough to think there's a correlation between what I like and what gets nominated. So I was like, well, Licorice Pizza was, of the movies that was nominated, it was the highest on my personal top 10. I think it was number 7 or something like that. But none of the other movies made the top 10 except, Belfast then became number 5. So I guess Belfast was what I wanted to win. I didn't even mention that until just now. Of the movies nominated, I was rooting for Belfast. But again, it should have been Annette's year. The fact that the Academy could get it so wrong. It's kind of nice. I don't know if you feel this way, Ian. It's kind of nice to be so removed from the Academy. It's like, well, clearly they're not nominating the best movies. It's just all politics. So, CODA is the best picture, and the Academy ratings are going to be bad.
It's a big win for Apple, I guess.
Finally, Apple has a win. Finally.
Well, I mean, because I know Netflix kind of was the first in the game with I had to look behind me to see Roma, and then the Irishman.
I remember The Irishman.
Right, but now it's like now Apple could say, "Hi, we're legit. We've got an Oscar now too."
Yeah. This is really strong going into next year with Killers of the Flower Moon. I forgot about that, but yeah, they are going to this is going to benefit their awards push for Killers, don't you think?
Maybe. I mean, that's the thing is now I'm thinking about it. How much of this is, and I don't want to talk about corruption, but I mean, honestly, the Oscars are notorious for
I've been calling
campaign
from the beginning of this.
Campaigning. I mean, rigged is kind of a tough word, but sending influence, lavish packages and all this other stuff to people who are in the voting body, and these big kind of promotional pushes, or just Apple throwing money around. Because again, who has heard of CODA?
Nobody. Yeah. Nobody. That's the one thing. Yeah, you want it. Well, that's my whole closing monologue is all about how they can't have their cake and eat it too. They have to, if they want to be relevant, choose to do that. Nominate some movies that we've actually seen, or if you want to be exclusionary and say no, it's just the best movies of the year. You got to commit to that, but don't expect the ratings to follow. So, wow, we made it to the end, Ian. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for sticking with us. I did not expect this to be 2 hours, but it turned out to be 2 hours. The Academy needs to get better at their timing. They cut out half the awards and they still were over. So let's wrap this up in the next 5 minutes or so. But what do you think? What are your closing thoughts on this year's Academy Awards?
Well, considering I watched the first, hour and a half, maybe hour, and then caught the rest via Facebook messages and you reading things off Twitter, one of the best Academy Awards I've kind of seen in decades.
Oh, I love that. That's not how I expected that sentence to end. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. And then you said that, and I was like, oh, okay, good. So, I think it is fun. The fact that I wasn't able to have any dog in the fight. So I was like, let's just enjoy the chaos. I think Will Smith was the best award given out. The Will Smith fucking knuckle sandwich. That was the best award. So CODA was the best picture of the year. And what an anticlimactic end to the movie, end to the movie season. So Ian Simmons, thank you so much. Kickseat.com is where people can find you. You already kind of gave the pitch for your YouTube channel, but is there anything else that you'd like to say to the viewers before I toss to the last package I have?
No, just thank you. This is an awesome opportunity, and I really enjoyed hanging out with you. And one of these days you'll have to come on my show, and maybe I'll come on yours, and we'll do like the full cross promotion thing. But yeah, this has been a blast, man. Thank you. If I have to experience the Oscars, because that first hour was really rough, just kind of watching it by myself. And then my wife joined in just to watch me sulk and steam at the screen. But to be able to come down here and actually talk about my feelings with you, this has been wonderful, therapeutic, and fun.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you had a good time, because I had a blast, and it's good to know that it wasn't just for me. So I'm going to toss to me, and we have a final closing monologue about the Oscars and how they can improve the ratings, and then we'll see you guys next time. Thank you, Ian, and everybody. Links for Circle Cinema, Tonkawa Film Festival, Kickseat.com, all that is in the description of this video. So thank you guys, and I'm going to toss to the last video, and it's gonna be right now. Thank you. With this year's awards over, can we get back to honoring the film industry next year? You may have noticed that 8 awards were not presented live this year, but instead taped prior and edited into the broadcast. The short films, editing, makeup and hairstyling, music, original score, sound, and production design were all taped 1 hour before the show started, while most of the stars were still on the red carpet. But why would they do this? Well, according to the Academy, quote, "Our goal has been to find a balance in which nominees, winners, members, and viewing audience all have a rewarding show experience," end quote. They say the show will become lighter and more electric with this new cadence. But I think it's clear what's missing from all these cut categories. Star power. Think about it. The 2021 Academy Awards were some of the lowest rated in the show's history, and they wouldn't dare cut any of the acting categories or original song or best director. But if no one is in attendance for the other awards, shit, it's just makeup and hairstyling. No one will care, right? Before Rachel Zegler got her ticket to this year's Oscars, she said she'd just have to cheer on the team from West Side Story from her couch. Well, she got her ticket. So do you think she got off that red carpet an hour early so she could go support the production design team from her movie Inside when they get the award? What do you think? This wouldn't appear so insulting if the Academy hadn't made room for a new most popular movie segment seemingly just to appease Marvel fans. I see what you're trying, but you can't have your cake and eat it too. If you want to strictly honor the best movies of the year regardless of popularity, commit to that. But if you feel like you've got to stay relevant, nominate Spider-Man for Best Picture instead of creating this participation trophy. At this rate, it's only a matter of time until the Pornhub trending page is honored at the Oscars. Okay, that's our show. I'd like to thank Lenny Schwartz, Ian Simmons, Brendan Gallagher.
This is the FBI. We have a warrant for Sam Carrico.
Aw,